mother-in-law can't have caffeine anymore, and she's always drinking coffee. So that's all.
Good morning. It's Monday, March 31st, 8:30 a.m., and we're here for a Central Services update.
Good morning, commissioners. So I'll start with what we have on consent. I have at least walk-on, maybe two. I'm just going to give this to the, oh, she just looks at me too. Stan's Construction contract for the horse barn water upgrade is ready for signature, and I anticipate I may have Farmers Electric for the electrical upgrades for the same horse barns. They just got these back to me on Friday. They have been reviewed by the PAO, otherwise I wouldn't bring them here, so I have those emails if they're required, but they have been approved by both the PAO and our risk management office. Number 4 on consent is the approval of a resolution to request surplus air conditioning equipment from youth services. It's under the youth services header, which is a little bit strange, but that is through facilities. We are aware of that, so we're expecting it. That's all we have for central services on consent. This afternoon at 4 p.m. there is a cybersecurity brief for the board from myself and John and a number of others in GCTS. That will be an executive session. And Tuesday at 3:30 there's an open public record for GCTS to supply surplus miscellaneous equipment. Thursday I won't be here. I do have a slip for you to sign, Rob. That's for me to get my secondary cataract removed. And we had a bid opening last week for the site prep for the bleacher project, and Tyco Industrial was the low responsive bidder on that. And I'll be working on getting a contract out to them later today. I'm also headed to the jail to look at a number of items that just came up, and to the fairgrounds to get caught up on a few things with Chris. Moving on from that, I received a worried call from Susie Fody on Friday. I think, Rob, she called you to talk about this. She received an email from the Department of Commerce. The letter is requesting proof of actions taken by the county regarding the finding on coronavirus funds and internal controls. I've gone ahead and printed out the letter and the portion of the finding where it says the county will put in place a subrecipient agreement contract checklist to be completed at the department level. They're asking for a copy of that checklist. So I'll leave this here. You guys can pass it around, but I think the easiest thing is just, I'd assume Carrie's got that checklist somewhere and we could provide that to Susie. And she just needs to email it off to Commerce. This letter was sent to Phil Coates, Jim Cook, and Susie Fody regarding federal grants that they get. So anyway, and I don't know if she forwarded all of that to you or not. I'll start it with you.
It has been sent to the commissioners. We did also send it to Carrie and Mandy. Kim has seen it.
Perfect. Well then, I will consider that.
I also have that letter printed out.
Susie called me worried. I told her, I said, well, my update is the first one with the board on Monday and I can tell them about it, but at least you're well informed. So when Susie meets with you later on, you'll be square. With that, I am going to ask if we can go into an executive session. 2 different reasons. One, it's not exactly on your list, but it is. This RCW is cited by the state auditor's office. Confidential information protected under RCW 4256-420 for IT security measures. And also RCW 423110 for personnel evaluations. 2 different subjects.
So we got to split them up. Which one do you want to start with?
We'll start with the personnel evaluation.
How long? 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Are you wanting me to hang out?
You can hang out if you want, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think it's fine on the cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Well, the first one we're doing is disciplinary.
It's not disciplinary, it's personnel evaluation. It's okay.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Well, I think it's just best if we don't have staff or anything dealing with personnel. We're just
Okay.
going to make that.
Okay.
But I thought it was security, so sorry, Kayla.
All right, we're going to go into executive session beginning at 8:35 a.m., coming out at 9 a.m. for job applicant / evaluation, RCW 42.30.1101G.
Sorry, you said coming out at 9.
Gotta wait for the camera. It is 8:40 and we are out of executive session. And then you want to go in for data breach?
Yeah, well, IT security matters, yes.
How long do you need?
10 minutes.
And which one is IT security?
RCW, well, there's two different ones listed. The ones the state auditor has listed is 4256 420 IT security matters. I think you have it listed as something different on yours.
I think it's the data breach.
Yeah.
FYI, I was doing some research, to see if we needed to go for each different category of executive session. We are supposed to be taking action. A motion and a second to go into executive session. FYI, that's what I read, but I don't believe we do that.
Caitlin, can you confirm that since we haven't done it the whole time I've been here, and if it needs to change, it can change.
I'll look into it.
So how long do you want, Tom?
10 minutes.
We're going to go into executive session from 8:41 to 8:51 for data security breach RCW 42.30.1101A II.
Good to go.
We are now out of executive session.
Quick update on the jail. One of the things we're going out there today, we discovered that all the HVAC systems they're putting in, they're not paying attention to where equipment is and filter access is. We found 3 VAV boxes in the correction space that once everything's built, you can't get the filters out of them. So we're meeting with them today to get them to move some of this equipment. We're in the submittal process on the HRCS building, so we approved submittals on all the electrical controls, the electrical equipment, lighting today. All of the lighting is run on Cat 5e. So we're requesting that they do it in a specific color so we can see lighting versus data.
Perfect.
And that's about the only update on those projects. Things are going well. I'll try and reissue the fence bid later this week. I had to cancel that bid due to my own ignorance of how you build a chain link fence. Too many questions. Other than that, that's my update for today. I think that's all I've got. Oh, I'm sorry. No, one more thing. Lots of communication between me and the myriad of people in charge of this federal grant for the single point of entry. I sent the email to that gentleman that I was asked to. He sent me an email back saying, "Hey, thanks for this, but I'm not the one that wants this."
Oh, I thought there was one that they couldn't read the file.
Well, yeah, that was the budget. So yeah, Desiree had sent me a JPEG of a budget that I couldn't do anything with. So this morning I emailed the comptroller gal who's in charge of that, asking for something, whatever she needs me to fill out. And they seem to be stuck on thinking that we're doing construction on the old courthouse, which we're not. But for some reason they think we are. And I've expressed to everybody that I can think of in charge of this grant that no, it's not the courthouse. It's on this campus, but we're not touching the historic courthouse. So we'll see what response I get from that comptroller.
Dave Briner called me Friday afternoon, had some questions, and so I'll talk to you more.
Okay. Any questions for anybody here? Anything for GCTS or for central services? Or?
Not for me.
Okay. Sorry about the walk.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He's fixing the computer and the printer.
Getting there.
Okay.
All right, we'll go to recess until 9 a.m. when we are back with development services. Good morning, it's 9 a.m. and we're here for development services update. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Chairman Jones, Commissioners. So I want to spend this morning on our update, spend 15 minutes talking about the proposed 2025 guidelines for utility scale solar and onshore wind development in Washington State by WDFW, and how it will impact our solar regulations found in Unified Development Code 2308357, specifically Section H. I've printed for you just an excerpt from the pages from the DFW guidelines. And if you'll note, in the Class 1 habitat, which is predominantly the shrub steppe biodiversity areas and corridors and riparian management zones, which is the bulk of the habitat found in Grant County, their mitigation for Class 1, which is on page number 2, in red, you'll see the in lieu fee is the recommendation is 5-1. Last year, when we went through and changed our critical area ordinance, we negotiated with Fish and Wildlife in lieu fees of 2-1, not anticipating that they were going to come back with recommendations for up to 5-1. Now, the challenge with that is in our solar energy facility regulations in Section 8H, you'll see, and I have highlighted it for you, specific to when solar energy facilities will impact fish and wildlife habitat areas, including but not limited to priority habitats. They must comply with the protection and mitigation requirements found in the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife Wind and Power Guidelines published in April of 2009, or as amended thereafter. So basically what that does is it throws out our critical area ordinance that we had previously negotiated that had in lieu fees of 2-1, and requires that we use the Fish and Wildlife guidance that is amended or about to be amended in 2025. That's going to make a recommendation of 5-1, which is, of course, incredibly concerning.
Just mentioned, but it says if no EHS management recommendations, then that's what they list. Do we not have management already?
Yeah. So
Priority habitat and species.
So are you reading in R 2308357?
No, I'm just reading under the class.
Yeah. So
Right above it. I'm just trying to
in their recommendations.
Yeah. If no.
Yeah.
That's what it would be.
If there are no priority management recommendations, so what they're saying there is that if there are no recommendations that from above,
Okay.
so if you can't avoid, if you can't mitigate, if you can't do any of the above,
Okay.
and you have to go straight to conservation easements with or without restoration, or then in lieu.
That's it.
You
Okay.
can't do anything else, then you're at 5-1. So when we were on the call with Fish and Wildlife, and when I say we, it's, of course, Grant County and our consultants, but, several other people, at the end of the call, we made a recommendation that we take an example, a scenario, a pretend scenario, and use the Fish and Wildlife's guidance and apply it so that they can see what the ramifications would be to a project under these scenarios. And fortunately, Fish and Wildlife, they took it into consideration, and last Friday they issued an email invitation for those that want to spend an hour with them and take an example scenario and run this guidance through that scenario, so that they can take a look and see what it would be like. We have, of course, elected to do that with our consultants, so we'll be doing that next week. And they have extended the comment period from the 15th of this month to the 25th of the month, so that they can see, what the results of that would be. I took one of the projects that we have under review right now and took an example of the the area that was behind the fence or in the fence, and the in lieu fee would be almost $14.5 million under the 5-to-1. Now, the challenge to that would be that we have to come up with a project to spend that money on within 6 years, and that would be incredibly difficult to do, to partner with somebody to try to figure out how to do that. So when there was a proposed change to the solar ordinance last year that was to try to define what the 20% conversion area was, that was ultimately unsuccessful, I tried to strike this language out of that code, but was unsuccessful in doing that. If this ultimately sticks, we're probably going to want to consider opening up and making a revision to our solar ordinance to strike that as well and point it back to our critical area ordinance that would again cap that in lieu fee back to 2-to-1. The challenge in doing that is that we were placed on notice by the Department of Commerce that our solar ordinance or portions thereof were probably not compliant with the Growth Management Act. So we would have to address that. We've been given until 2027 to address that in the current solar ordinance, but if I opened it up to make this change, I would be forced to make a correction to that one as well. So I just wanted to put that out to the commissioners and see if they had any thoughts about, obviously we need to wait and see what happens with this guidance. They're going to make their decision by June on whether or not this guidance stands. And if it does, then we'll have to probably make a decision on whether or not what direction we want to go in on making amendments to 2308-357.
Okay.
You're on that term.
If we make those changes after they've come out with their 5-to-1, how does that affect us? Can we still make those changes without them coming back and saying, well, you did this because we've already made that decision?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, potentially. So what happens is, we draft the changes and they go out for a 60-day review, and Fish and Wildlife would be an agency that would review and comment. It would be a recommendation. We could still press forward, and they could appeal the recommendation just like anybody else. So we're gonna try like crazy to get it right in this document so that we don't have to open up a change to 2308-357. And this is a concern that I've put forward to the chair of FSEC as well, because this is something that has to be, we have to get it right, because if I have to make this change here and I have to then open up and make the change to become compliant with the Growth Management Act in our agricultural lands, what will happen is that will force these developers at the doorstep of FSEC. And FSEC that's not what they currently want to do. I think I've shared with the three of you, I've had a lot of productive meetings with FSEC of late, and their leadership wants to keep applications at the local level. It doesn't do anybody any good to have these projects run through FSEC because of the costs that are associated with it, and those costs they get rolled back forward into the rates that people pay because of the way that the fees are structured through their program. So by forcing developers through FSEC it's not the right thing. It's not a good thing.
Well, it's not good for us.
Exactly, and it's not good for us too. It's better for us to maintain control of these projects. So it's a real, we're stuck here. So now there's still certain projects that would be able to run through this ordinance that are in zoning designations outside of those agricultural lands, specifically ones that are in rural resource. So it's like 50% of, it's 50% of the projects could still run through the office, and 50% probably would be held out until we got it figured out. So it would be likely that we would be, maybe in another moratorium for solar with some exclusions for the agricultural land applications while we got that figured out. So I just wanted to raise awareness to the board that we will be working through, and I'll be updating you as to what we find out and others as we get through this guidance. So on not next week, but the week after, I'll be speaking at the American Clean Power Conference in Seattle, and I have suggested to Fish and Wildlife and to FSEC, who will also be at that conference, that we meet either during or after to work through this guidance as well. It'd be a great opportunity to have not only the development community for renewable energy, but also agencies that will be convened in Seattle that maybe we can talk through this thing and get it pointed in the right direction so that we don't have to do some of this extreme stuff.
Right.
So that'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 14th, 15th, and 16th. I know we all love talking about shrub step, but
We don't, I'm trying to pull up the map right now, it's not coming up. It's like, We got lucky on that one, and we got a lot of it in Grant County.
yeah, I mean, the concern is, again, on the second page of, well, the first page after the cover sheet on their guidelines is the class 1 habitat. I highlighted where it says examples include shrub step, biodiversity areas and corridors, and riparian management zones. That's everything. That's could be considered core, and it could be considered, growth opportunity areas, and it could be considered corridor. So and we had set up our critical area ordinance to allow for in lieu. It's not ideal. It's not what we wanted to do. What we really were focused on and we're hoping for was to have the mitigation bank be an option for developments like this. But while we still have the language specific in 2308-357 that requires disturbance for shrub step and applicants for solar energy facilities to adhere to the Fish and Wildlife wind and power guidelines that were published in 2009 or amended thereafter, it forces our hand until we do something different there.
I assume other counties are having the same issue, Douglas.
Well, Douglas doesn't, well, they will. Douglas doesn't have a solar ordinance. They're under moratorium. And so FSEC is the only way that developers will be allowed to develop there. And that was my direct question to FSEC on Friday, is because they're on these calls as well. And I'm like, are you aware, and will you be following the same guidance? I'm assuming you are going to follow the same guidance as those that have a local ordinance for solar and wind. Will DFW be making the same recommendations for projects that are going through your office in counties that again don't have an ordinance? And they are getting me the answer. They were non-committal. So. No.
That's helpful.
Yeah. But and other counties, I have, Commissioner Burgess, I have printed everybody else's solar ordinance that actually has one, and they don't have language that's like ours that points them to their solar and wind guidance. Adams County does. They're the only ones that do. And I met with their director last Monday, Unrelated, we were at the Conservation District and made them aware as well, because I don't think that they were aware of the ramifications of this language in their ordinance as it pertains to the guidance. So they're looking into it also. I promise next time I'll come with good news.
We're starting out really good today.
Just,
Anything else?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
We'll
gentlemen.
go
Thank you.
into a 1-minute recess and then be back for our commissioner office update. Good morning, it's 9:17 a.m. and we are here for our commissioner office update. Hello, Barb.
Good morning. First out the gate, your pending decision spreadsheet for your meeting later on.
Later tomorrow, for tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Cindy.
Morning.
Let's see if you wanted to address that.
All right, can I do this now?
Let's go through the agenda. Next is boards and committees update, ma'am.
I don't have a heck ton. We have a tourism meeting this week, so I'll have an update for you about that next week. I'm working on still trying to get in touch with all of the different boards and committees that we are missing information on. It's kind of difficult because some portions of that spreadsheet were not very well maintained. Like we've got one where all the positions expired in 2023, so it's kind of hard to figure out who to actually talk to, and so that's been a fun little side project of mine. That's that.
Review of upcoming public hearings. Do we have one tomorrow? We have 2 tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
I know Tom talked to you a little bit about his.
Yes, there's what Tom was talking about, the juvenile court request, the surplus of an item that was already
I thought it was, he had a tech services surplus. No?
Oh, yes, no, you're right. There, 315, tech services request to declare surplus miscellaneous equipment. And then at 3, there's a public works request to declare surplus certain county-owned items. But that is all posted on the site.
Okay. Review of this week's meetings. Do you have any questions about the meetings coming up for the week? Okay, maybe get your thing. I just realized, oh, this was not on the minutes. That's.
No, I hadn't gotten that far yet.
Okay,
I just got the tables up
I
and
know. Just wish you.
figured I'd go from
One
there.
of these days you'll be able to copy it or we'll do something like that. So
Well, once the Laserfish forms are up, it'll,
it's up and going.
What's the referral platform meeting?
that was the one with Hope Source. They wanted to talk to you about different payment options or financing options of the referral platform that they use, that they presented.
Oh, yeah, then I told him that.
Yes.
Planning commission meeting here in
The hearing room,
hearing room.
correct. Which leads me to another discussion about the commissioners and your schedule. So you're going to be out next week and we're no longer putting it on the
I'd
commissioners.
appreciate it if you did.
Yeah. So do we need to have everyone, the board, have access to the staff vacation calendar? And if, I thought you already had that. So I just want to make sure so that in case Rob, it's not on the calendar, and Kevin wanted to take the day off and not knowing that you were going to be gone. How would you like that to happen?
Well, we definitely probably need it. Cause I have a couple of days I'm not sure on.
Do you know if you have access to the staff vacation calendar?
I've never been in it.
Okay, we will work on that this week, so then you'll have to check a secondary calendar if you were thinking of not being in the office to make sure, because if there's a quorum or not for the meetings. So,
What day was I taking off?
You said a Tuesday?
I would have to look, no, Cindy's gone Monday, Tuesday.
I thought you were on a Tuesday.
I won't schedule any days off.
We just gotta
Monday,
then
Tuesday.
transfer anything of you guys being out to the vacation calendar. If
I
that's,
mean, unless I'm on vacation, I won't. I'll try not to be gone Monday or Tuesday.
so we'll need both of you here next week. Okay. I didn't know if you guys had
Are
known.
you telling me what to do?
Otherwise, it makes for a day for staff canceling all the meetings. Okay, so that'll be
That'll be
something
fun.
that we will work on to get you guys, all your stuff that we do have transferred over to the vacation calendar. Okay. Reminder that this third 4/2
Wednesday.
is Wednesday, the Samaritan Hospital Board meeting. Were you planning to be here in person, or all of you gonna be online?
It's gonna be here, right?
Yes. Now, Rob, you had said that you would not be here for that. I think.
What time was it at?
It was at 4 p.m. on
4 to 5.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be even available at 4 p.m. I think that was why.
So I know
Actually,
Kevin
yeah,
and-
I'm not gonna make it. I didn't realize you were supposed to be.
There will be a Zoom option.
Okay.
This is the one that Tom had talked to you guys about a few weeks ago, and then this was the time that worked for
I'll be
For
Okay,
that.
well, and I thought we talked about not all of us attending.
when I had talked to you and Kevin about it, both of you guys had confirmed that you would be there. Rob was the only one at the time, when it got scheduled, Rob was the only one that had said that he would not be there.
I'll be here.
So Rob, you will not be here
Yeah, I don't
at
think I'm
all?
available at 4 p.m. at all,
At all.
so.
So Cindy, do you know if you'll be able to Zoom?
I actually have a doctor appointment at 4 p.m., so that's why I'm really surprised that I committed, so.
We just need to let the hospital board know and Tom know that we won't, it'll just be Kevin. Okay. New Hope reached out. They would like to take your picture on 4/7 at Susie's next week meeting. It is wear royal blue for domestic violence. So she is asking that next Monday, the three of you wear royal blue so that she can get a picture of you.
Just put it in my notes.
Which notes would that be? Wear blue?
No, but I'll probably forget.
Right.
I put it in my notes.
Okay, perfect. So she's requesting that for you to wear blue. Susie also had requested that I print for each of you that letter from Commerce that she wants to talk to you about as well. I believe Tom wrote on the subject, but this is what Susie asked me to give to you for your discussion. So that's there. Next to Caitlin, LTAC logo use.
Yes, the Ephrata Chamber of Commerce reached out because they purchased that property on Basin Street, the historic Bank Tavern, for their new location. They are wanting to have merchandise that they can sell in their that visitor center, and they want to use the Visit Grant County logo. So I've been talking with the prosecuting attorney's office. Barbara Durbeck said that it looks like whether the county can protect the use of its logo in part hinges on whether it's registered with the Secretary of State. I would assume that you would not know, but do either of you two know if that's something that the county did with the LTAC logo?
I don't know.
Do
I
you
would be
know?
surprised.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so I will respond to her and we'll keep working on that. So
I
more to
think even
come.
our county logo, we don't have it.
I don't think so.
I think if somebody, we asked that they maybe not use it, but they, a copyright, it's not copyrighted, others can use it.
I know part of the struggle with this was that I think Rebecca, a bit ago, had looked into this for a different reason. And then, of course, when the Chamber of Commerce reached out, it was when Rebecca was gone. And so they're playing a little bit of telephone trying to figure that out. But I'll let you guys know what we find.
Okay, I know we're running out of time. Last on mine, but I don't know if you want to talk something. Security reached out to our office Friday afternoon. A member of the public came in after looking at Google or something on a site saying that the courthouse was open from 8 to 5, but individual offices are closed early and open late to the public. So they just wanted to let the board know that there was a complaint, and if there's a potential to put on the website that says some sort of each office runs on different hours right on the front, so then they know to go to each page. So when you Google the courthouse, apparently it says it's closed at 4:30, but then offices are closed at 4. So I know this has been a discussion
Was it
for
the building and
years.
planning?
No, it was an elected
Okay.
office. I believe it was Superior Court. They close at 4. And District Court closes at 4:30. So people are coming
Yes,
till
there is an
5.
RCW, I believe it's an RCW, that the county commissioners control the hours of the courthouse, whether you're an elected official or not. I think the sheriff closes early too. So we probably need to address that.
So I'm just letting you know that there was a complaint made by the public.
Yeah, it just says closes at 5 PM. If you look there, it just says open and closes at 5 PM. It doesn't strictly say what offices are open or anything else.
Right.
RCW 3616-100, the Board of County Commissioners has the authority to determine by resolution the days and hours that all county and precinct offices, including courthouses, must be open for business. I believe the courthouse, because there has been a bit of a power struggle between district court but they have to be open to the public for 8 hours.
Yeah, so on the clerk's office, it says open 8 to noon and 1 PM to 4:30 PM. Available by phone until 5 PM. That's on the clerk's website. So
And people are just looking, Googling the courthouse, and they're
Sure.
coming at 4:30 and
Can't get anything done at the clerk's office at 4 o'clock anyways.
yeah, so the building department's the same thing. I mean, it says the lobby hours are 8 AM to 4 PM Monday through Friday. We're unable to accept or issue permits after 4 PM. We're available by phone 8 to 5 PM Monday through Friday. So each department has their times on there. So if they have a specific place they're gonna go, they should look
at each
at
department.
each department and figure out what times they're open. They are available by phone until 5 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. So I guess when they have a complaint, I don't,
There's many places to Google skin a cat, I guess. Google a
yeah, I mean,
cat.
it just takes
Yeah, yeah.
30 seconds.
They just wanted me to bring that to the board.
Have on there. Every department's different, but they are open 8 to 5. I don't know.
We can put in a help desk ticket. That's something that the commissioners wanted to do. My only thought on that is that if somebody is just Googling the courthouse hours, are they really gonna go to the county website to look for the courthouse hours? Because if you just Google it, it'll just pop up and say that the courthouse is open 8 to 5. How many people really are gonna be diving further unless they're already on the website looking for something. Like I said, we can put in there, because if you're wanting it on the main page, TS would have to be the one to do it. I can put something on the commissioner's webpage.
Well, if you Google the courthouse, it should be right there. Each department is different.
Oh, maybe if you looked on MapQuest though.
Or, uh, check the website for your department, or, I don't know how you direct somebody, because if you Google it, I'm looking at it right now, the Grant County Courthouse, it has the, place to go to the website, but it says open and close at 5 p.m. But there's a drop down there. And it's the same thing, 8 to 5 every day, Monday through Friday. So
For that, depending on what you're looking at though, we could reach out to Google, but that would be a Google thing that they
Well, it
would
says
have
Grant
to.
County Courthouse, 8 to 4:30. I just Googled it on the maps.
yeah, I don't know how you.
Is Tony logging on?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
on.
was he? Oh.
Yep, he's a panelist.
Well, we have run into a little snag when somebody is here in person to drop off a payment to district court, and they're closed and they won't take any payments. They had a Dropbox. I don't believe they have a Dropbox any longer. So that's a problem as well. They won't open their, if it's due a certain day, they're here in person to pay it. And they refuse payment. Well, if you don't know though, if you don't know that they close at 4:30.
I'm just thinking if it's
Yeah.
for me, I'd be here,
Oh, shoot, I better pay it today. Better mail it in.
yeah, or something. I don't know how you take care of everybody's.
Well, you don't have your courthouse open at the same time.
Is what it is.
So then super quick before we gotta hand it to Tony. I had the Trails Planning Team meetings on here. I know they had invited Rob to attend. The Trails Planning Team is the Moses Lake group.
Is it Paths and Trails or Trails Planning?
It's Trails Planning, and they're looking at hiking and biking and equestrian trails in Grant County. They'd invited Rob to attend their meetings. I believe Rob wanted to see if anybody else was interested in that also. Is that correct?
No, the issue is that, what day is it on?
It's on Tuesdays
Yeah, that's the
at
issue.
3.
So leaving some Tuesdays at 3 or at 2:30 in order to be at that meeting. That's why I wanted to brought it up.
It's not gonna work.
That's the opinion I want though, is like, okay, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, we have other county business to do, and that's probably not.
So that's how we need to reply.
We can't, can't leave just because they need them on a Tuesday. Maybe they could change their dates to Friday. Dates just don't work for us.
And then we did a little bit of digging about executive sessions. MRSC does not require you to, or it does not say anything about needing a motion to go into executive session. The Roberts Rules of Order says that if you have a current custom, which would be what you guys have, that's fine, or you can make a motion to go into executive session. It does also kind of depend on where you go, because some other sites say, yes, you definitely need a motion to do that, but MRSC does not. And since they're Washington State, and I am not sure, the other ones are kind of from all over. The Washington State, the MRSC has the checklist for executive sessions. It does not say anything about having to have a motion. Oh, sorry, I'm taking it with me.
Thank you.
You're good. It's empty.
I'd seen one that was like, it had suggested a kind of middle ground where basically the chairman would say, if there are no objections, we'll go into executive session, and then you give the other two commissioners the option to object. But again, that's not listed in the MRSC requirements. And the Roberts Rules of Order, from what I found, did not specifically say that you had to do it if you had a custom set in place already. What'd you guys do?
All right, thank you.
Checking into it.
I'm taking up all of Tony's time.
Morning, Tony.
Good morning. Good to see you guys. All right, so good morning, board. I have just a quick update for the month of March. I have seen 71 veterans this month, and I've opened 144 new claims for compensation for veterans. I've attended 6 different training sessions to include other VSO trainings where we come all together as VSOs and talk about things that we've done and kind of discuss some key points of claims. Sat down with the American Red Cross. They've reached out to me to see if I can host a blood drive for them. So this way we can get more out in our community, more outreach. I'm going to hand that over to Victoria Decker-Torrey, who is the VetCorps navigator. She'll be running point on that. I have spoken to HR about the new position. We will be trying to get that posted as soon as we can, hopefully within the week. For the month of March, I had 14 claims come back done. 10 out of the 14 were approved. So I had 4 that were denied. Retro pay for the month of March is $86,933.50. So that's just retro pay from the 10 claims that were approved. So just 10 claims brought into the county over $85,000. Going over to the monthly passive, those 10 claims have added $16,511.78 to my monthly passive. So basically means that those veterans that got their claims approved this month will have $16,000 going forward for the rest of their lives until they pass away. So that's looking really good. So that's just 1 month when I got 14 back. While it's not 100%, it is 10 out of 14, and we're able to get a pretty good number from that. Does the board have any questions for me?
Yeah, you first started off, I did write down house enough. How many visits did you have this month?
So this month, for veterans that I've met with, or how many claims got approved, fully completed?
I think veterans seen. It was a first.
So I've seen 71 veterans this month, and out of the 71, we opened up 144 new claims.
Are the 71, do they come in the office? Are you able to visit with them in outreach?
So they come into the office. Usually when I go to outreach, it's kind of predetermined. Most places I go is up north to Electric City because I have a place for me to come in, sit down with Wi-Fi, where I can take my laptop and everything else and kind of have a space. Knowing that there's going to be a good internet connection because I do everything online, everything's digital. So I don't take any paper copies anywhere to fill anything out.
And that place is well then for seeing.
What's that?
That place is working well to visit with the veterans.
Here where I'm at?
And up north.
Yeah, so it's up north in Electric City. It's the American Legion Post. I sit up there and everything. They have their own building and they host me well. I've gone out to other American Legions in the past, the Ephrata one here in Moses Lake when I was working in Ephrata. But now since I'm in Moses Lake, they don't host me since I'm in the city. But yes, whenever I go out, I definitely try to get it to where it meets everything that I'm going to need: internet, space for the veterans, and privacy, because we'll be talking about medical problems, financial difficulties, and other things. So definitely privacy is a key aspect to it.
Okay, thank you.
You had a busy month.
Oh, that's actually one of my slower months, but it was pretty busy. I'm happy. Usually I don't get 14 claims back in 1 month. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, great. But 10 out of 14, not bad. I wish I can do a little bit better. I'm still working on that 80%. I'm still in the 70, low 70s. But once I can get up to 80%, I feel like I'll be doing really good as a VSO. But that is it for me. Is there any other questions?
I have none. Thank you,
I can't
Tony.
think of anything.
Thank you guys for your guys' time. You guys have a nice day.
Good, thank
Thanks,
you.
Tony.
Bye.
Anything else for you guys? That's it. All right.
Just clarifying, I think it's under rules, Robert's Rule of Order. That's when they said a motion is required to enter into an executive session. So, but where it doesn't.
Are you wanting to change to that?
No,
or
I
you-
just, no, I would rather not, but I just, when I was looking to see if we needed to segregate our different executive sessions per the discussion item that we're going into, it just, somewhere where I read it, said you need to a motion in a second. So I just, reading that, I wanted to share it with you. I'm fine how we're doing it, so it's just more of a discussion piece. I just don't want to do it incorrectly and then get hammered.
Yeah, no, I get it.
That was my only.
Okay, we will go into recess until 9:45 when we are back for an accounting update. Good morning, it's 9:47 a.m. and we are here for an accounting update.
Everybody have a good weekend. Thank you. Okay, well, since you guys were in PMRT, most of you are aware of our staffing issue. And we're going to be moving our second payables clerk into she's going to become an accountant essentially, and then cover the assistant payroll duties until we get through Tyler. And so we don't plan on any hiring at this point. That may change after we implement Tyler. I was going to give you a brief update on capital assets and small and attractive assets. Nothing moving on the policy, but everything is rolling with the departments. We are still waiting for a few reports to trickle in, but they're working on it. We do anticipate to have those done before the end of this month for both our capital assets inventory and our small and attractive assets inventory. So the documents I've provided you, the first off, we got a response from legal about the Mutual of Omaha insurance payments and whether or not seeking those payments from the former employees would be considered a gift of public funds. It could be perceived that way, but she thinks there's a strong argument that the dollar value, and I provided that email response to you in writing, it's not worth it to recoup, but it's a judgment call, so I'm assuming that's just gonna be up to what you three would like to do with that situation. We've covered our bases legally. We've reached out to State Auditor's Office, MRSC, and our own legal department, so I think we're covered for any type of ramifications in that situation. Either way we go. I don't know if you guys are reading that email or not. And,
No, thank you for doing your due diligence there.
so I don't know if that's something we want to bring forward on an agenda or how we would move forward with that.
That one's tough for me because someone that received more, like a lot, I would understand trying to do something, but then if you're gonna do it on that person, then you need to do it on the $1, and the $1 doesn't make sense, so.
Well, I think you look at each case. Kind of
We could
easily
maybe,
do, but this one would take some tracking to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, how many people are we talking about?
a lot.
Oh, I thought it was 3. Why did I think it was
No.
Talking hundreds?
I have the complete list from HR. I think so. Because it's lots of employees over many, many years.
Quite likely. A lot of them don't even work here, right?
Some of them don't, yes.
The largest recipients, I don't think work anymore.
We could maybe set a dollar value for the benefits. And if anyone utilized X amount of those benefits, we could try to recoup that.
Would we be recouping more than we spent doing the research?
Oh, yeah, we're not gonna get back that time or value.
But I mean, if it's gonna cost, if we're gonna recoup like $20,000, is it gonna cost, I don't think the value is that high.
I mean, it's only we're only talking about $10,000 in total.
Mhm.
It's not that large.
It's not worth it. We're gonna spend more on attorney's fees to go after.
Possibly, yeah, because
recovery. I mean, even if you,
It'll leave you lose half of it.
yeah, even if you got a judgment against all of
It'd
them,
be 5,000.
you get half of that plus the cost of doing the judgment. I mean, it's just not, to me, it's not.
On this one, I agree, I think we should just walk away from it.
transfer from current expense.
That's just me.
I
I
hate
don't
to
know.
say it, but
Kevin, are you feeling that?
no, that's the way I feel about it. I mean, I don't know how you, I wouldn't want to spend $50,000 of taxpayers' money to go after them.
Rob, how do you feel?
I don't think I would go after it based on, it wasn't the employee's error.
It was their additional like life insurance benefits that they voluntarily opted into. Like I said, we could set a dollar value and maybe we could just at least try preliminary notifications and just see if it's something that they're willing to just easily give to us back without having to go through any legal recourse.
Well, yeah, but how much time and cost is it gonna take for you guys to do all those letters out to each individual and how much time are you gonna spend on it?
Yeah, that would be costly, but not if we only narrowed it down to like high dollar employees. I could maybe find that and see, because we have the list, I could probably easily identify how many people are within a certain dollar range.
It's been like 2 or plus months since I saw the list. Can you email us the list?
I think so. I don't believe that's anything sensitive.
If it is, you can put, add Rebecca and do, attorney-client privilege on the heading.
I don't know how quickly I can pull that up, but I'll make sure to get that sent to you guys. And then the other documents that I provided you is the liability insurance allocation. And I think I understand why there was such a discrepancy. Because the shared liability is that we allocate across the departments based on their exposure risk. We have 3 levels, the lowest level, medium level, I guess, and then the highest level. And so I don't know who rated those departments each level, but I carried those forward. And that does equal the original 3.5 million that we allocated across those departments. But that doesn't account for all of the specific assets that belong to those departments. And that in total is about $2 million. And so I have those lists, and the second summary that I provided you is I went through and said, based on the description, this looks like it belongs to current expense. This looks like it belongs to solid waste and renew and so forth. And have sent those out to those departments that are not under current expense to ask them to review it and get back to me and let me know if it's accurate, because that insurance money would come from their departments. So there shouldn't be additional expenses in current expense for that extra $2 million, if that makes sense. it's about 1.7 million.
I'm trying to follow your chart here. So where were the assets? Is it added in the specifics? Is that where you put it in?
So this is just a summary of the assets. I have a list. I have a
Oh, okay.
long.
I was trying to find.
No.
Okay.
I can send those to you guys if you
No, I
like
was just
them.
trying to find it on
I
the
have
list.
3 tabs, all of our vehicles, all of our properties, and all of our miscellaneous equipment. The vehicles were difficult because some of them are in the motor pool and some of them are not.
And the motor pool should be charged to the motor pool.
Yes. And so that would be 510 on here. So I'm still working through that to make sure that we get the correct assets assigned to the correct funds and departments. But I think that explains why it wasn't in the shared insurance portion on the budget.
Researching that?
Jim McKiernan sent me an email that you had sent him last week, kind of putting down different figures in comparison to what you guys had in the budget, and then kind of his response of the budget amount and the actuals being different. And then, basically saying that you guys provide him those numbers, so he's not really sure what you're wanting.
So for the amount budgeted here, that may not align with what we actually put in the budget. I did the 19% in our budget, and I redid 19% on here, assuming it would be the same number, but I guess his is not. I don't know why, but the additional assets are not included in the shared liability. So I don't know where those are getting paid out of for those respective departments, but that isn't, it doesn't come out of that interfund insurance.
But I think it did at one time.
Possibly.
It's just, I think in 2023, the big increase, it was just.
And so, so I sent that to them so they could review it and let me know what's wrong with it. Yeah.
We actually, I'm on the professional development leadership, and there is one individual, and that's all that she does is the insurance component. And this is how she does her makeup. Or, she does a little division. She has a little spreadsheet that's about what the cost everybody should be paying.
Yeah, so I found, because as I was going through the exposure liability and recalculating, all of these amounts are pretty much what we have in our budget. And it totals 3.5 million. But the other 2 million is related to specific assets for those departments.
Okay. Do you mind sharing that with Blair?
Yes.
Your sheet, your full sheet.
Yes, I will share all of it with him and maybe meet with him and.
He's our insurance guru now.
Yeah. Do you guys want it as well?
That'd be nice to look at.
Okay. Yeah, because there's some current expense and commissioner items on there. As far as Tyler goes, we had some HRM process refinement meetings last week. Still waiting on the refresh. Hopefully they did it on Friday so that we can do the reconciliation of the GL data. Once that's verified and accurate, we'll start to do 2025, but we'll do 2025 by month up until, so each month we'll do it. We'll get caught up through March, and then at the end of each month, we'll get it uploaded in Tyler so that until we're going live in July. And then the only 2 biggest hurdles after that are going to be the grants and projects and contracts management modules for the financial side. And the next on-site for us is April 8th through the 10th, when John will be here. No financial update as we had our finance meeting last week. Unless there's any specific questions, I think I'm got all I got.
Any questions for Mandy?
No. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mandy.
You're welcome. I'll send those emails out.
Wonderful, thank you.
Hello. Thank you.
I'm missing one more.
Okay, it is 10:01 a.m. and we will now roll into our youth services update. Hello.
So we're starting with the financial. In February 2025, we provided care for 23 juveniles, totaling 145 days of care, and the ADP was 5.18. I did a comparison of last year. We had actually almost the same kids, 24, but we had way more days since we had kids that were with bigger charges back then. Resulting in ADP of 6.59, and the total cost was $33,091.
Back then, but we made up for it in March.
Yes, we did. As you guys can tell, we had 5 intakes until this weekend, and as you guys can tell, juvenile theft was one of the drive-by shooting. And they actually did kill somebody on the juvenile theft. So he's gonna be with us for a while. They're still deciding if they're gonna treat him as an adult or as a juvenile. They don't know yet, since he's only around 14 years old. Over the weekend, we did also have 1 more drive-by shooting by the different gang that were the Sureños. But unfortunately, they didn't kill anybody. And the scary part of these last 2 juveniles, juvenile number 7 and juvenile number 8, it's like they don't have any criminal history. I think juvenile 7, he did had, in February, he was charged with possession of firearm. And he had bail, but the mom bailed him out, and that's what happened. That's the only other criminal history, but juvenile number 8 has 0 criminal history. He's just coming to us with these big charges. So.
And juvenile 5 was the last one?
The juvenile 5 was the one that they actually ended up killing another youth, and then a lot of other victims are still in the hospital, I think. Yes. Yes. Any questions?
Do you have to give bail to a youth?
Most of the time, they do put bail, depending on the cases. I think we're getting a little better and for the prosecutor asking for bail, but in the past, it has been one of our major concerns that they put like 0 to no bail for juveniles. And sometimes they will even only put $25 bail. I think we had, like, after several meetings, we had asked, you guys need to be asking for a higher amount of bail. I think we're doing a little better, but I know that, that's something that, we're also in communication with the prosecutor to make sure that they put appropriate bail for these kids. I know that juvenile 5, they actually did ask for a $1 million bail, and they gave him $500,000. The judge gave him, but like I say, in the past, we have struggled with the bail, since it seems very inconsistent for us.
Did you say that juvenile number 5 was had charges previous to this?
Yes, and the unfortunate part is that he actually had before stabbing, and
When was that?
that was in May of this last year. And I talked to the prosecutor and say, this kid absolutely cannot be released. He should go to JR. But at the time, they didn't take it as serious as they should. They actually just gave him, for that case, 12 months, 8 hours of community supervision and 14 days detention.
So he's
So-
under his 12 months when he committed the shooting.
Right.
Yes, and he was also on parole.
So that didn't really work out.
But like I say, since I knew we weren't getting anywhere with this kid, we have been asking the prosecutor, and in some cases, when like the police report is very weak, we ask them to do a manifest injustice app. And we have in the past able to do so, but in this case, even though I asked, we cannot do this with this kid. We haven't been able to work with this kid because every time he's on supervision, he's always on the run. And we haven't provided any services. So for our department, our view was like, you need to send him to JR so he can actually get some rehabilitation and get some services while in detention. Because
Yeah, well, do they understand that because of
the severity of the
now,
issues
this
now?
is the consequences of them not.
And that's
taking action.
exactly what I told them back then, like, this kid is gonna come back and
this
they're
our
gonna
problem?
kill somebody.
Is this our prosecutor here?
Yes, yes. So that was my predicament back then, and it's sad to know that now we're here, but yes. So. Any questions as to the intakes? No? Okay.
So the other shootings this weekend must have all been adults.
Going
Like
back
there's
to
3 of
the
them
juvenile
this
number
weekend.
5, it was only a juvenile and the other 2 are adults. One of them actually got caught in Oregon.
And one in California.
Yes, yes, so they will not come to us since they will go straight to adult, so.
But they'll
Yes.
get transferred back over to.
And I heard since these new drive-by shootings were fairly new over the weekend, I heard, I think one of them, since he's already 17, he's gonna be charged as an adult for the one over the weekend, so. Intake so far for the whole year has been 50, and for February, we have 18, and so far for March, we have 19. As you guys can tell, obviously business hours are little ones, and after hours, we always have the most. February, we have 15 after hours and 14 for March after hours. And for the offender unit and diversion, we have currently 216 cases, 112 which fall under the category of diversion. For truancy, we currently have 142 active petitions, 55 stays, 53 stays filed, 17 stay lifted, 16 contempt of court, and 176 dismissed cases. And for dependency, the numbers are steady. They have been 100, well, they vary a little bit, but it's 161 active cases, 110 allocated to staff, 43 to volunteers, and 8 cases that are actually being monitored by the attorneys. And then, I don't know if we can go to executive session. I want to do an update on the investigation as to Shaline.
And how many minutes?
Probably like 5
5 minutes?
to start.
Finish the meeting. And what would that be under?
I will say personnel matter because they have.
Disciplinary.
Okay. We'll go into executive session beginning at 10:10, returning at 10:15 a.m. for personnel disciplinary matter, RCW 42.30.1101F. We are now out of executive session.
And then I was just gonna let you guys know, in administration, I'm submitting a consent agenda item to surplus our air conditioning unit. This was replaced in December 11 of 2024 and was removed by facilities and maintenance, and they disposed of that unit, but we never got it to you guys, so we can surplus that item. And if you guys don't have any questions, that's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start out. It is 10:16. We will go into recess until 10:30. Good morning. It's 10:30 a.m. and we are here for our Renew update. Today we have Juan Padilla, Director of Behavioral Health Services, filling in for Dell at Renew. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, so Dell asked me to fill in today for him, so a little nervous, but here I am.
Awesome. Welcome.
Don't be nervous, Juan. You know we don't bite.
Right. So, just a little bit about myself. I've been here at Renew for 18 years now. Started as an intern, then did case management, then did therapy for 8 years in Mattawa. And then I became the manager for the outstations and covered Ephrata, Grand Coulee, Rural City, Quincy, and Mattawa. And then became the director here. And it's been 4 years now that I've been here as the director for Renew. So that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome. Thank you.
So he also asked me to speak on crisis expansion. So we got a good opportunity to kind of expand on the crisis team. So they've offered the contractor Carillon has offered some endorsement funds. And so just by creating these teams, which will consist of a CIS, a crisis intervention specialist, and a peer. And then also one of the criteria that they're asking for is that we have ADA vans that are wheelchair accessible for non-ambulatory individuals that may arise through a crisis. And these vans, they would like for us to station them throughout the county. So we're thinking of starting first with one, which would be located in Quincy. So by being able to do that and get that up and going, then we'll be considered an endorsement team, which would qualify us for some funds, and which would be pretty nice. And so other regions that are doing these, they're required to dispatch, or not dispatch, they're required to be to the person within 30 minutes. But because we're rural, all we have to do is dispatch our crisis team within 15 minutes. So that kind of helps quite a bit because we would never make it like if we had to go from Moses Lake to Grand Coulee, and they're really pushing for in-person visits and not remote. So we wouldn't never make the call if we had to go from Moses Lake to Grand Coulee because we're so rural, and being an hour and 30 minutes away, we just wouldn't be able to do it. So they came up with this 15-minute dispatch. So this team just has to be en route within 15 minutes. So that's for me, when I looked at it, it seemed pretty simple. It didn't seem like we needed too much, to put together, but we are having our first meeting with them this Wednesday with Carillon, the crisis contractor, and we'll kind of find out more of the details that we're needing. But after reviewing everything, it seems like something not as difficult to do. And then with that, so we'll get fundings for that once we get approved for being an endorsed team. And then for sending the team out, they're going to keep track of when we dispatch. If we're dispatched within 15 minutes, they're also offering supplemental performance payments. So that's another opportunity for us to get some funding there just for making that 15-minute window of being dispatched to the crisis in the county. So we're looking forward to that. for that expansion. Once we meet with them, we'll kind of get more details to kind of see how many more FTEs we may need to make this happen.
Are you
Any
guys,
questions on that, you guys?
are you looking at purchasing a brand new van or?
Yeah, it would be, well, we haven't really gotten that far yet, but we're thinking with the enterprise, with the contract we have with enterprise, it's kind of just getting with them and seeing what they could offer us to get an ADA van that has wheelchair accessibility. And then in my past life, I did also work for GTA for 10 years. So I got a good understanding of I got a good understanding of the wheelchair lifts and the trainings that are required for it. So
You have some transportation background then.
yes, yes,
That's good.
yes, yes. I really enjoyed that. So and then just if you guys don't have many questions on that, we also got asked from Carolyn to expand with adding another DCR and a peer to the team, but they asked that they would be co-occurring certified, which is the DCR would have to have be an SUDP as well as a mental health professional. And they would be the ones that would be dispatched whenever there was any alcohol or drugs requests at the emergency rooms or throughout the county. And they would be the ones that would be dispatched to go out there and see those individuals. And then they asked for a peer, which had the life experience with the SUD, with the substance use disorder.
Okay, so the peer would not be the co-occurring and certified, that would be the DCR, correct?
Yes, yep.
I'm like, wow, our peers are really stepping it up.
I know it. I know it. No, and the peer would just be, they would just have to have the life experience of the substance use disorder.
Drugs or alcohol, basically.
Yeah, drug or alcohol. Yep.
So do prescription drugs fall underneath that, or is that another category?
Yeah, that would fall underneath that, the opiates. Yep. So they actually reached out to us and asked us about it. And I talked with the crisis manager and the team and the new supervisor, and we felt that it would be really good to add those individuals to the team. And they actually answered us Thursday that it was approved on their end. And so hopefully once Dell gets back, we'll kind of move forward with getting those positions posted.
I don't know what happened to Kevin. Okay, no, that's neat that Carolyn's working with us like that.
Yes, yes, yes. They're really wanting to expand that crisis team, and they're moving pretty quick.
Good. You got to move quick. So
Yes, yes.
great. Well, thank you, Juan, for joining us. I don't have anything else.
Neither do I.
All right. Well, nice meeting you guys, and that's a little bit about me. Not as bad as I thought.
Oh,
Thank
keep
you,
up the
Juan.
good work, Juan.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Recess until 10:45, and when we are back for assessor's office update.
Sorry, I'm
You're on time.
late.
Good morning, it's 10:45 a.m. and we are here for an assessor's office update with Assessor Melissa McKnight.
So it's gonna be a crazy week because statements went out and we'll get all the calls. It's already crazy.
Got them already.
We are down. That's all my front staff is out sick. So we have one front staff person, that's Rhonda, and then Rhonda, me, and Rachel were trying to get our work done and cover the front counter, help her out with phone calls and stuff. So that's the kind of day we're having. On a general note, and So Thursday, that's when I found out we had someone going around the county pretending to be from my office that's not from our office. I'm
We got a
working,
little freebie worker.
working with, no, I think they're out to harm the people. Working with the sheriff's office and MLPD, we have license plate numbers and I will be pressing full charges.
Are they going to the home?
They're trying to get in the homes, yes.
Oh, wow.
Saying, this person said, I'm from the assessor's office. When they pressed them, because they saw that the car was a PT Cruiser, they got the license plate off of it. Then she changed her story and said, oh, I work for a bank. And
Do you have
she ran
jackets or tags or anything that identifies?
well, we have our county issued standard, they have to wear their lanyards out. We have our cars with, we call them targets, the targets that Public Works is the one who puts those on and orders them. We get them through Public Works. They're the standard county targets. And it does say assessor on them. And then we have business cards that we hand out to people or door hangers. It's one or the other. We're just about out of door hangers. They're more expensive, so it's just cheaper to get business cards. Has the county's numbers on it.
Did the sheriff's office put out kind of a press release or anything?
Yeah, I had to do the Nixle. This happened before. We thought it wasn't, it was just pretty located, just suppose like, it's not, it's all over. That Nixle has brought more people in.
Okay,
So,
complaining that they,
yeah, it's a lot
that was a
more.
good wake-up call.
Yeah, we tried one year to say, when I got in, we were like, hey, we're in this neighborhood this year for reval, and that made it worse. So that's why we notify law enforcement where we're at, but you know, call the office. We have literally, we know where each employee is because they sign out what neighborhood they're going to be in, what county cell phone they've taken out with them, so we can get them to that person. We can give them the number this day. This is what phone they have out. This is what car they're driving. You know, we have all that on a daily basis. So for everybody's protection and security. It's just kind of the world we're living in, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of crazy. We don't, you know, got it out there. We don't ask to go in homes unless we're down a path where, yes, we'll make an appointment. Two of us will come out. We have to inspect something that's going on in the home. We'll take pictures and then we'll leave. But other than that, we don't go in. We don't need to know. We'll ask you questions. We'll talk to you. So, let me see. Oh, also had an employee that day. We had to take them to the ER. They were out in the field.
Were they injured, or, I mean, was it like a dog or? It was more of a personal.
I mean, there's HIPAA.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's public meeting, so their incident report has been filed.
Are they doing better now?
We had him take it easy on Friday. He was feeling better. He is not in today.
Okay.
So to speak anything more on it, we'd have to go into executive session. But no, we wanted to get it on in an incident report in case Ellen and I later, so it is. Did interview for the sales analyst position, has offered internal employee Clayton the job he accepted on, and so he's starting that position. We posted an appraiser position, and then we are getting ready to schedule interviews for our front office opening. It's made it a little tough with Tyler not working. So hopefully going to NeoGov is gonna be, I'm like, I like to NeoGov, so it's like, yeah, we're gonna be the guinea pigs on the NeoGov, which is just fine with me. Hopefully that the appraiser one goes smoother. We've had to go back and ask for, you know, the application will print, or your resume didn't come through, or your cover letter didn't come through. So it's been
a trial.
It has. It's been a struggle. So we're hoping to get that person in, start getting them trained, and Clayton's training today, started his training today. So get moved around. So we're just kind of, getting after it. Hopefully we won't have this week won't be like last Thursday, Friday.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I keep waiting for that nice, quiet, boring day.
It's not coming right now.
I think you need to retire so that happens.
It's gonna be a while.
But, so that's kind of,
For another May 18th, it was pretty quiet.
it's, yeah, let's not do that. Yeah. Full staff or just healthy staff would be great.
It's been a rough 2025 with illnesses.
We were watching, it was like a little dominoes last week, like, oh no, you're getting sick. Oh no, you're getting sick. I'll be better over the weekend. Monday morning, I'm still sick. It's like, yeah, you
It's
were
been hanging on for a bit.
not looking good. So we're still Lysol in the office like crazy. Fresh air, opening the windows.
Well, thank you. I didn't have anything else.
Okay.
Were you able to look at that property that should have been an open space current use?
I have not.
Okay.
Everything went a little bit crazy sideways last week.
Right.
I'm hoping that is on my desk to do today, along with a couple other things. I got the annex sufficiency petition from the county to city of Ephrata.
Okay.
Did that this morning. I'm literally addressing an envelope right now, but it was time to come for this.
Well,
so.
thank you for joining. We'll let you get back. I think it's an important ordeal.
Yeah, we want to get that done, so
Hopefully
then I will move on to that.
Thank you.
All right, you guys have a good day.
We will go into recess until
Okay.
11 when we are back for auditor's office.
Missy?
Good morning, it's 11:01 a.m. and we will stand at ease for our auditor's office update with Michelle Jayerland. Good morning, it's 11:15 a.m. and
Hello.
Fairgrounds update with.
Oh, I can't. Oh, hold on. Let me turn my speakers up.
We hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now.
You froze there for a second.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't have a whole lot right now. I have Senate Bill 5098 is still in committee, so I know it goes to appropriations here this week. That's the gun bill for the fairgrounds. I did a little discussion on that at our WSFA management meeting last Friday in Ellensburg, which was pretty good. Hold on. Sorry, I had to close my door. But I do think it potentially is going to pass. Our plan for 2025 is just to do the signage that is required. We already have a good plan in place for the rest of the safety issues that they're concerned about. We have, the new lighting, we have better PA systems, we have more officers on the grounds, we have 50 more cameras. So we're taking a preventative approach from a different standpoint rather than just saying, hey, don't bring your gun in here. So we did have the WSFA management meeting on Friday and it was good. It was at Ellensburg and we came up with a couple good ideas. One, as I get older, is a good idea. They have a senior cooling center. And so I was going to reach out to maybe the Moses Lake Senior Center and see if they wanted to staff a senior cooling center during fair. So I would actually get a tent, put a porta-cool in there, put some tables and have water available. I thought that was a really, really cool idea. And then the other idea we got at that management meeting was to open our green room a little sooner. So as the superintendents are setting up for fair, we have sandwiches, sodas, waters available a couple days before. Right now we have them available on Tuesday through fair. But we're thinking about maybe opening that on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because they're all here setting up anyway. So we want to take care of those volunteers that are taking care of the buildings.
Hey, Jim?
Yeah.
I like the cooling center because we've always thought maybe the 4-H building or just something, we have more places to have AC. But even if there are parents with little kids there too, Sometimes the kids get overheated quickly in their strollers.
Yeah, we haven't had that problem too much, but we do, you know, what's nice is we have David Eck and some of our fair advisory committee members that all have coolers on their golf carts. And so if we see somebody overheated, we could definitely have it set up so that if somebody was really overheated and needed a water, and a place to sit, they could go into one of those spaces. Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Other than that, we're getting ready to announce our music lineup on April 11th. That's the day we're going to announce our headliners, and all of our social media will be blasted with headliners, and our video board out on Valley will have that. So we'll start ticket sales for our Friday night. That's the only one we're doing ticket sales for with reserved seating. Other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape. You'll have some contracts coming your direction for entertainment, specifically the headliner on Friday night is our big one. So that's coming your direction. And I think you signed the one for Seattle's Finest already. So I think we're in pretty good shape on that. So, and then I just saw a note from Barbara saying she's looking at and has some concerns about possibly the surplus of the old panels to Poor Boys. So for some work, I'm going to go through. I just got the email a couple of minutes ago, so I haven't had a chance to go through that. So I'll go through that with her and just make sure everything's answered there. And then Rob, did that email this morning help you better understand the concerns that the Lions Club had?
Yeah, I knew what their concerns were. I just needed to kind of confirm with you what you guys were doing.
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest problem with having us rent the Clover machines was there was no way to break out that that money would go to each of those individual accounts. It would all come to us and then we would distribute it. And that might have opened a bigger can of worms than we wanted to take on. So we opted to say, here's the costs, here's the person to contact, and we've been following up with Clover, and then we'll help them set them up, but we don't want to be the rentor of those machines because a bank account has to be associated with those.
Yeah, the fairs that some of them that require that or rent you their own machines and stuff, they handle that and then they write the check to the booths.
I kind of thought that might be one step too far to that control point. I guess I was nervous because change is never good, and I thought that would be too big of a change right out of the gate. Well, change is always good, but not always in everybody's eyes. That's the tactful way to put that. So I think our plan is just to help them put in a POS system in their locations.
And then the issue with all payments for booth fees being credit cards, are you charging a percentage to run the card?
Yeah, we have to charge 3.5% to pass that back.
And why won't you take a check then?
Well, because we got 2 bad checks last year, and so we conferred with some of the other locations that don't take checks. We will from a nonprofit, but we got 2 bad checks last year as a result of for-profit vendors coming in, and so we opted to. In fact, we got one for a commission payment after the fair and had to go back, and so we're saying no, we're not going to take checks from those for-profit organizations.
From any of them or from the ones with the bad checks?
From any of them right now is the way we set it up.
So when I pay a commission, I'm going to pay a credit card fee to pay my commission?
I think it's just the registration process. I'll have to check with Becca, but I think we will take a check at the end of fair, just not for the registration.
I mean, just being a vendor, my opinion would be if you're getting bad checks and they're not making them good, you just cut them and let the good vendors pay with a check, because paying extra 3%, you know,
Right.
$20,000 commission is not really something that I would personally be interested in.
Right. We haven't had too much pushback. The only one that was pushing back because I don't think they had a credit card was the Lions booth.
I haven't submitted mine because I didn't want to pay with a credit card.
We know where to find you.
Well, I know, but I can't be treated differently. I'm just saying, like, for my business, I look at obviously that a little bit. And some have the deposits, they're just small, but you always pay percentages and stuff with check. But if you get back,
and we'll take I'm pretty sure we're still taking checks for payment after fair on commissions. It's just the registration process. The initial $500 that you're required to pay.
But if the check isn't clear, Jim, isn't it due pretty soon? You have a month or two to.
Yeah, but the question is, do we really want to chase down people with bad checks that we've had in the past, and we've had to do that? And then what happens is we make a deposit, it goes to the treasurer's office, and then we get a $30 bad check fee, and then we have to collect that on top of it.
Well, I would say, Jim, if they wrote a bad check, they're probably done and not a vendor.
And we actually did that to, we're doing that to the big one that was really bad, and the other one didn't apply yet, so.
Could you make them bring in a cashier's check?
They paid, last year's they paid with, I think they paid with a credit card after the fair. I'd have to ask Darcy. By the way, Darcy's been helping train Rosalind's, just so if you see her, tell her thank you. She's been coming back in a little bit in the afternoons.
Okay.
We'll do a little more investigation, but we talked to several other fairs, and the credit card processing for for-profit vendors is pretty common among, it sounds like, among fairs for the registration fee. That's all I had, pretty much. We do have a meeting. We're debating whether to have the April meeting. Nothing really has changed. The only thing we'll know better is what vendors we have. A fair advisory committee meeting in April. So we'll see if that, but I'll send you information if it does get postponed and just information sent out.
Hey, Jim, has there been anybody talk about doing the roof on the old sale barn?
We have talked about it. Chris is very hesitant, and I kind of agree with him sending anybody up there. It's a very shaky building. And our concern would be having anybody on the roof of that building. It's a pole building. I almost think it'd be better if it was torn down, but I'm not sure. I know we've talked about the Republican building. I think we're planning on doing that one and the Azars booth this year. But we haven't. He won't even let his staff go up there with harnesses on right now on top of the sale barn.
And you can't reach it from a boom or a man lift or.
We could reach it from a part of it from a boom lift, but we couldn't. We just got the aisle that goes through it. That's the only place we could put a boom really to reach the area that would have to be if there was something that needed to be replaced.
I'm just thinking those clear plastic panels are probably broken and leaking.
Oh, there's some panels up there on the top. The cap across the top is loose, and we've had to pull a couple pieces off of that that have fallen down. And so, yeah, we're pretty conscious of the fact that it's in really bad shape. The whole sale barn is in really bad shape.
Yeah, I just noticed it was pretty wet there.
Pretty wet?
Yeah.
Well, we had a little issue on, were you here over the weekend? We had a little issue where somebody left a sprinkler on inside the sale barn overnight.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. We got it dried out now.
Okay.
We had to have a little discussion with the staff to say, hey, it's probably not a good idea to put a sprinkler inside that building.
Or if you do, put a timer on it.
Yeah, don't forget it. All right. Do you want me to, is there something you want me to do on the credit card / check deal?
No, I just was curious.
Okay. Let me know. I know, Linda doesn't, she's not a big fan of mine because I've had to ask her to move off of the walkway several times after fair started. And then last year, they were not selling Pepsi products purchased through Weinstein, which is a requirement for all concessionaires. So I had to have that discussion with her. So she's not too happy with me sometimes.
Yeah, but if the rule is the rule, that's the way it is.
Well, and they're a huge sponsor. They give us a massive check every year. So, and it's not like we're asking them to pull teeth or something. It's product they would have purchased anyway. We're just asking them to purchase it through Weinstein.
Right.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Have a good day.
You too, thank you.
We will go to recess until 11:30 when we're back for a risk meeting. Good morning, it's 11:30 a.m. and we're here for a risk and safety coordinator update.
Good morning, everyone. So just to give you a update for claims, we still have the claim at the fairgrounds, the claim 1732, where the person hit the fence. Steve Whetstone has been assigned to that claim. I'm working with Steve and Chris Turner from the fair. We do have now 2 quotes to what the cost is going to be to fix the fence and the gate. So we are moving forward with that to get that fixed. So Chris and Steve.
What is the cost?
First quote was, I want to say about $6,000 to $8,000, I think, but it's gonna be covered by their insurance. So the person does have insurance. We do know who it was. So we're letting WCRG take care of that for us. So they'll subrogate it for us. Also did get reached out to by the attorney for the family inmate death. They asked us to hold on to the records, all documents and recordings that had to do with the death. So reached out to WCRG and forwarded it to the sheriff's office, and they are holding on to the records. Just nothing's been filed officially, but just asked to hold on to the records as they look into things. The last one was Larissa was dealing with looking for an employee incident report at Renew. She didn't have record of it, so she asked me if I had it. I said I did not, so I started making phone calls to Renew and found out that it's still going to Pete's old email. And he set up some type of system where he reviewed it all and forwarded it on. And the person there thought it was still being forwarded correctly to HR and the correct way. So ever since Pete has left, it's still going to his email and the way it's been set up. So we're going to work with TS to get it set up properly to go to HR and myself. But it just showed that, okay, we have a little bit of a problem. We had that one and we had a couple other claims that showed up. So going through to make sure everything was taken care of, because when I asked for it, I was expecting one claim. And then I started looking through it. I'm like, this is a car accident. One of our employees' cars got hit by someone else that was intoxicated driving through our parking lot. I'm going, uh-oh, was their car fixed? Found out it was fixed. Everything was taken care of, but we didn't know about it. And so just trying to get that taken care of. Wanted you guys to know about that. So we'll work on getting it all fixed, get the policies in place, how we're going forward from now on with me here. So you guys will know about that. Also, I have reviewed what Pete did make, the Grant County Safety and Risk Management Policies and Procedures Manual and Accident Prevention Program. That is a mouthful. How he had it written kind of contraindicated what we talked about, what you guys were looking for this position to do. So I kind of cut out all the description of what this position was supposed to do, how it was supposed to roll. And so I basically made it the Grant County Accident Prevention Program. I designed it, sent it on to Brian from Public Works, and then Keith at TS to review, since they're on the safety committee and they're reviewing it. I want to get their input on it as well. And then I'm going to bring it forward to you guys to see. So it'll just be the Grant County Accident Prevention Program. And as long as you guys are okay with it, we can move forward with that. And then we'll have my job description, and then I'll have outline my position later. I have that almost done too. I'll send that to HR before I bring it forward to you guys. But it has been outlined with what you guys are wanting me to do, the powers and things like that, as we've talked. So that's all been done as well. We continue to be modified as we continue to work and talk. A lot of meetings, a lot of talking to people. We have started doing the digitalization of the claim forms. Just a couple minor hiccups, but it's starting to go. So I have about 20 to 30 of them in, and we're just going to continue moving through them. So that's what I'm doing this week, is getting those claim forms that are in my office and putting into Laserfish this week. So it's a slow process. Got to go through each form individually to make sure they're all included. So
still working on your boxes in your office?
That's all of them. Those will all be inputted, hopefully, the next couple weeks.
Nice.
Done.
That'll be nice to get that off your list.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that'll be done, and then can go to storage and go through, and we can destroy those that are able to, because some of those are time up. So we can shred. Yeah, that'll be the next one. Then start visiting all the other departments, getting out. That's my next goal. As soon as I get those forms done and claims included, is to go out and go to visit the different departments, talk to them, and start moving forward with those. And so if you have any departments or things you want me to look at, please let me know, and I will definitely be doing that for you guys. Okay. So any questions that you guys have for me or things you'd like me to do?
I know Mandy was going to reach out to you and share with you the breakout of the liability insurance. A lot of the, I mean, it's like $2 million, close to $2 million that it's for capital.
Okay.
So you should.
Okay. I'll watch for that.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Blair.
Blair.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye. All right, so our PMRT meeting is canceled for today. They don't have any positions or review necessary. So we will be in recess until 1:45, and we are back for a commissioner work session. Yeah. Good afternoon. It is 1:45, and we are here for a commissioner work session. I will just begin with asking if either of you have any items that you would like to discuss during this time.
I don't know, but I brought 3 pens down last week and I'm down to 1.
I'm using Renew's pen. I
Black.
think I stole it from Kevin.
Saying I'm not stealing them all. I don't know where they're going.
Like the rest of us, they just disappear.
Only the good ones. Only the good pens.
I'd steal Caitlin's pens, but she'll catch me.
That boss sent you that email about the PD and what they're doing.
Yeah, personal email though. Yeah, it's, is it, yeah, where's that? Somehow I missed it. Then I saw it. There. Yeah, load growth restrictions on data centers. I'm not sure what it even looks like because there's not a lot of details.
I was looking at the top 10 pays in Grant County, property tax,
And they're probably all data centers.
not all of them, but.
What's-
Pretty close.
It's pretty close. They requested more information today. They requested budget versus actuals.
Oh, for the bond.
Yeah, that came through
On
just
the
about,
budget versus actuals,
yeah, it just came through about an hour ago.
did we send our, for 2025, they want our 2025 budget or our 2024 actuals, or both?
I'll tell you what it said.
They want to know how over budget we went.
Hi, everyone. We have one more request. Could we get a copy of the county's latest budget to actuals? Brian, who?
Oh, okay, 2 actuals.
Yeah.
Are they available online? They might.
So I would assume, and that went to everybody, so I would assume that Daryl and Mandy or something would be on that. Also, Daryl had popped in at 1:30. There's no worries about what we talked about this morning. Cindy?
Oh, he's okay with it?
Yeah, everything's good. So there was no loss.
So has anybody heard anything about REC as far as what their plans are?
I've only heard they don't have any plans right now.
Just looking for somebody to come in here with a bunch of money and bail them out again. I don't know how they're gonna pay their taxes with no income.
Well, they have out of country income and Montana income. It's not local.
Yeah. So I saw on the on the agenda today that there was going to be a discussion about meals and per diem.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, meeting meals per diem policy. So just expense reimbursement that came from Renew last week for just a team breakfast. And I'm just trying to understand, I guess, how that works. I get Renew is kind of outside of general county budgeting, but just how it would apply in other circumstances, like if Barb wanted to do the same thing, how it would be, because I can't see us supporting it in that situation. So I'm trying to just get an idea.
So the
For
guidance
others.
that we'd all received.
And some things that,
Yeah.
the sheriff's office has done,
Yeah.
just
But I think
different.
some of it might be grant related, and that's where Dell has always, sorry to interrupt, that's where Dell has always come back. It's like, we get this for, we have to host a leadership training or whatever on that, and that's kind of the only mechanism.
So my understanding has always been a little bit different. And I used to have lengthy discussions about this with Madeline because the state auditor's office gave guidance on it. And we should probably formalize a policy. But the state auditor's guidance was that if you could prove that it was a training event, it wasn't something that was done weekly, but I mean, the question was raised because I would do a safety lunch with the maintenance staff, and there was 4 or 5 of us. We would go out to lunch somewhere, but we would have a sign-in sheet, I would have a topic, and it didn't even need to be formalized, but as long as we proved that we did a training event, then Madeline, the state auditor's guidance was that that was a legitimate expense and you could do that. It shouldn't be taken advantage of, but you could do that. So we've always kind of done that, and maintenance does potlucks, well, we do safety lunches every quarter, but everybody's just kind of preferred to do potlucks, and it's been a little bit more fun. But before we were doing the potlucks, I would bring in pizza or something like that. Never a question about that. Same with, I mean, there's a lot of different directions you can go here.
You need to demonstrate that the meal is essential for the employee to obtain a full benefit of the training program. Sometimes that's during the day. We used to meet with Public Works when we first started.
Yeah.
Just all the directors, everybody came for a lunch, and then that's when it was going to become a fringe benefit. So they were going to be taxed on it, so we stopped doing it, and then we just.
See, and I think I don't think it has to be, I mean, the guidance I've always received. So let's put it a different way. Let's say that the BOC, I'll use the BOCC office as an example. You want to do a lunch training, right? So first of all, now you've got your employees working when it should be their legitimized break time, right, by law. So now you're discussing office operations. You're discussing how public records requests are done. Is it efficient? Is it not efficient? What could we do differently? Maybe you're talking about who's covering what and what responsibilities are being done, who's covering when, on lunches. It doesn't really matter. Your internal operations, you're going over them, making sure you're being as efficient as possible. But you've got your employees in a room at a time when they should be on break. It's legitimate training, and there's no reason why you can't expend funds to provide lunch for that training.
We have the opportunity throughout the day to have a training within our office. The only time we do training, we don't need to do it during lunch because we have nobody's outside. Tony's outside and maybe some.
But you can't fully do.
But we will meet with our elected official department heads.
Yeah.
Just because we don't have the opportunity to meet with them outside of the regular workday. So we do lunch, and I think all of them are. I don't think any of those employees are hourly.
Well, and I think it's hard to do if you want to do a staff training, and maybe it's not just office operations. Maybe you want to do internal leadership training, or any number of things. You can't close your office and include everybody, because then you're not open to the public. So you have to do it in hours that are either lunch or before or after, because you don't. One of the policies of the board is that every office should be open at lunch, right?
We've traded spots with Public Works to switch.
Yeah.
Or somebody maybe from the assessor's office will answer phone.
Yeah, I just think with the guidance I've been given in the past from Madeline, and what I've been told the guidance is from the state auditor's office, I think there's a really good argument to be had that any office can do it if you can justify the training.
Well, I think it's done on a rare occasion, but I think it's our public. Are we going out for lunch and submitting that? Do we really need to? Could we do it during the office hours? But I think in training, when we're doing training and we don't really have an opportunity to do it another time during the day. So we've done that with our elected officials.
And I think, and I'll extend that, and I'll switch the subject, but same premise. The whole, like the shirt deal. I don't think there's any reason why any department that's a public-facing department can't have part of their budget that goes towards shirts that promote the county. All of us are either mingling, unless you're not a public-facing department. People walk in, they want to know who they're dealing with, and when you have that badge, then people know, and they feel a little bit more confident. And employees should know that if they're going to wear those shirts out in public, that they should welcome those interactions. If the public walks up and says, "Oh, you work for the county," they should welcome those interactions, because one of the things you want to do, and one of the things you're doing with that shirt, is to instill public confidence in the local governance. So
Well,
again,
that's a great discussion.
It'd be good for assessor's office, this appraisers
assessor's
be wearing.
office,
Maybe a
your
jacket,
office,
something.
any office that deals with the public.
I will say our dress code it's not the same dress code we had 10 or 15 years ago.
Well, and I
We have
think,
the same dress code, we just don't follow it.
well, and I think that there was never really an issue with people,
Some
and
of
I'm
our
not,
employees. I really try, I was almost put on jeans today, 'cause I'm like, I just chilled, but I tried to dress the part. And I think everybody else should be dressing as they're coming into a government office.
I agree.
And I'm surprised that some employees look like they've rolled out of bed. Or it's what their lounge wear on the weekend.
Yeah, that's
But
not,
I feel like we see some of our employees and they're the ones greeting the
are
public.
they employees under the BOCC or under another
No,
elected official?
Our employees don't dress that way.
No, I mean, but another elected official, I mean, conversation with that elected official, so.
Well, but it's hard to.
We can touch
like
on
all
those
done.
when the policy updates are done too, though. We're gonna need to do some work sessions on what we want in policy too.
Yeah.
Right.
I think if you establish a policy, you can do almost, I mean, I'm not saying that we want to waste taxpayer dollars, don't get me wrong, but I think there's definitely, if you think about team building, if you think about, wanting people to feel included, there's nothing wrong with a shirt, that promotes who you work for. I just think it goes a long way with a lot of people. And I get people that come up to me when I'm wearing a Grant County shirt or my Grant County hat. People come up to me regularly, and I welcome those interactions. Tell them
I
if
don't
they're-
want the interactions, I put a hoodie on.
Yeah. Anyway, my
If I
two
wear
cents.
this all
I
the
saw
time.
the agenda topic and I just wanted to come in and put my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Any other items to discuss?
Well, I want to know on my hotel, when I go to Japan next month, Kamaki City has offered to the delegation saying they're gonna pay for 3 nights. But typically, I mean, the commissioners have a budget, so we don't really allow other people to pay for our food. Or, if we go out, like a lunch meeting, we're supposed to pay
It's
for our
like
own.
under, you have to report it if over 50, right?
Yeah, so I was just not sure if I need to pay for the whole hotel room or if it was advisable to.
I don't know. Tom?
It's a good question because they probably,
It's like, you need,
they're-
there's always that, no.
they're the host and they probably have a budget as well, right?
Right, and they
Yeah,
probably,
but we typically don't.
Yeah.
like,
some
allow
places
that.
wouldn't, they wouldn't frown upon somebody not accepting.
And I would, I would agree with that in that culture. And I think if it's known ahead of time and you're not, if they're the host and they're offering to pay for a few nights of your hotel, that just reduces your expense. I think if it's known, if it's talked about in a public meeting, you're not being gifted, you're not receiving anything personally.
Right.
It's saving the county taxpayer.
And on a good note, the Moses Lake Court will be getting the gift together for the mayor, because it needs to be substantial or something of substance, so they are taking care of it. Sharing that.
So I think if everybody's transparent about that, I think that's just kind of a windfall for the county,
As long as you're not like unlimited room service at the Four Seasons Japan.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't think
it's
anybody's
not,
gonna be
it's,
upset.
we will,
Yeah.
the other days, we'll be paying for the balance at the hotel.
And I
And if
think,
it is, I'd like to tag along for 3 days.
well, and I think Commissioner Burgess makes a really good point in some cultures that's, it's an
And I
honor
don't
thing.
drink,
That's,
so my
That's true. You're a cheap date.
travel arrangements are actually very affordable.
Whatever can keep you in that GSA rate.
Or to
With the
explain why you can't
Japanese
stay in the
yen and,
GSA, right?
Yeah, I could get 2 rooms probably for our rate, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you by chance see the email from Brian about budget actuals?
All right, it's 2
Right,
PM
that would be.
and we will roll into the
upstairs.
treasurer's office update.
Okay, our tax payments are in post offices this morning of all Grant County.
Thrilled to see it.
So when I went home and I found my statement in my mailbox.
How'd they treat you?
Scissors.
Were you happy with it?
I haven't opened it up.
No? Okay.
I don't remember if I'm up or down this year. I'm probably
Definitely should be up.
up.
Got it.
Our PAX just crashed, so we don't have our internet. I mean, we don't have our PAX software up to answer questions, phone calls. It crashed on Friday, had a mini crash on Thursday.
What's a mini crash?
It was down for a very short time. And all we do for Friday, we had to wait for a while for PAX to respond and tell us what went wrong. And today, we'll see what their answer is today.
How long has it been down today?
It just went down 10 minutes ago. Right in the middle of my phone call. Because I had someone wondering why they had, for Skyline Water District, why did their small lots have a $436.08 irrigation assessment on it? That's a question to ask the irrigation district.
I was gonna say, irrigation district.
Well, I can look into, I mean, I can definitely look into the trouble tickets and see why it's crashing and if it's been, has this been a regular occurrence or is it just?
No, it's just lately.
Just lately? Okay.
Mhm.
Wonder if they did a patch or an update or something that should be.
Well, they had an update they were supposed to do on the 19th. But then usually Melissa says, don't do it until I tell you. But right now I have no communication from Melissa of if she let it happen or not.
Well, let me look into
Since
it.
they're dealing with their other major problem regarding things not getting valued the same for having practically the same characteristics. And the response that I sent to you guys on that response, on that email history, was not an answer Matt wanted to hear. About how it's not there, this isn't mapped that way to calculate that way. And so that was not good. Because I don't know if that's why we're having so much problems with values not making sense on some properties. So I don't know how many BOEs attempts are on the, have been filed for challenging values this year.
What did she say? Was it 85 or something? 100?
I think we're over 100.
Somewhere around 100.
Which is not that much.
No,
That's not that many.
That's pretty good compared to what I thought it would be.
No, I think we're at 214.
Okay. So it's just starting a month in. We have a training, we had a new problem today is we've been trying to get all the school districts onto payee positive pay and we haven't heard from them. Well, we found out they did it, but they didn't go through the part of uploading the files. So we're gonna have all these school district warrants that are gonna be rejected because they thought that was something you can do after the fact, which is totally against the whole concept of pay, positive pay. So we had to this morning, Salt Lake School District couldn't deposit a check with US Bank because it wasn't in the system. So they had to come up and we had to manually put that check in, upload that check in the file, so they can go back down and pay their payroll, federal payroll taxes. We were waiting for the school district, the ESD to tell us what was going on, and now we also heard from these districts that it's, they have their training on Wednesday on how to upload.
Do I have one over there for me, Kevin?
So we're gonna have all these warrants in the next few days that are gonna reject until they upload their files. And we did it in the wrong order. So now we have to deal with all that volume.
Thank you. Sorry, hit it once and.
Is that software that was implemented on our end that caused the change or?
No, well, it's all through US Bank. US Bank keeps the payee positive pay, which matches payee date, amount,
Printed that last
and,
Tuesday or Wednesday night.
amount, and one other thing. So then any warrant that gets presented, any warrant that gets presented goes against that file, it's not on there, then it rejects. And then if it goes to the banking system, then we get that exception file, look at all of them, determine what's legit and if there's fraud. But we're not supposed to have the hundreds and hundreds of warrants now to bounce to us volume. So that's puts a burden on us to have to now check all those warrants against the register and the payees, all this in a manual process, which is what we were trying to avoid. You saw that interest rate 10-year went down to 4.22 at the
That
time
was
this
last week.
morning,
Or did it happen today?
just today. And the Dow was down 400, but now it's up after the last half hour. So I don't know how much up, but we'll see. So we'll see about interest rates and if we get a good impact from it, if any impact. We have, and right now this, yeah, we're just, I was just, when I got back, I answered 7 phone calls. First, people who were saying, when are we gonna get our statements? And I said, it was at your post office today. They hadn't got their mail yet. And the others is got it and had questions regarding it. And so now it starts. Now it starts that everyone has the information. So we'll start collecting money. We already got a lot of people that already come to the office and paid already this morning.
Yeah, I've seen them coming in.
Yep, and everyone wants to, they just want to get it over with and not have to worry about the rest of them. We're trying to catch up to get our information for the annual report quicker to auditor's office. But all the workflow problems is just, we'll be talking about shifting a position to more of an accounting position. To try to deal with all that problems, all those, the volume problems. So, do we have an idea when that entity comes for our salary reviews?
No, it'll take all of this year.
So have we selected an entity yet?
Yep.
Okay.
We just signed the contract last week in consent,
Okay,
or 2 weeks ago.
I think you approved a vendor. I don't know that the contract's been signed.
That's not the contract.
Mm-mm. Okay, I'll check on that.
It was like 30-some thousand,
I would say 2 or 3 weeks ago.
That's sorry, which contract?
For the
the wage study.
wage study.
Oh, that was policy.
That was,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
My bad.
yeah. So, because
But we
Decorah,
signed whatever that was for that also at the same
yeah,
time.
Decorah asked me about that this morning. So the timeline in the RFP was to have it done by October, November of this year. So that if the commissioners had time, they could include it in budget discussions for 26.
so are they going to go to each office?
Yes, Daryl.
Everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Countywide.
Update the,
Yeah, because I'd rather have us talk about what the jobs are.
Well, do you,
versus
yeah,
HR.
do you have copies of all your job descriptions for the various? Because they're gonna need copies of them and all
well,
that
and if
kind of stuff.
anything changes, you need to, if they're not doing that duty, they need to be what their current.
Well, no, we were looking at changing something, so we didn't know what the timing is here.
It's been a while, Daryl, but we finally got it.
Okay.
No.
You can still work with HR to change something now.
There
It's
was
just,
even discussion about not moving forward on it. I want you to know, Daryl. We powered through and did it.
So when those wage cuts come, remember, you asked for it.
No, the increase.
So then what would the $2 million go for?
Huh?
What would be the $2 million go for?
It's gotta be sustainable.
That'll be
Training.
everybody's wages for a year.
6 months.
Okay. All right, and so that 1.1 that was gonna go in that fund, we're gonna remember that it's not necessary to go to that fund and not even make the transfer this year. Just wanted, I don't know how accounting will present that to you this
You
year.
lost me.
There was 1.1 million of their 5.4 million that was gonna be transferred out of current expense this year. 1.1 per accounting says was going into this account that has $2 million in it. Which I don't ever remember.
Oh, okay, that was for the 2025, either new employees or salary increases. Yeah, I don't know if it went into this account or, I know it was putting it into a little holding. I don't think it went into this account. I honestly don't know where it went, but. got our
Because
budget
the
meeting
accounting has it
Wednesday,
going,
January.
I thought that was supposed to go to, instead of going into individual departments' budgets, it was
So
supposed to
be
go
in a
into a
holding?
holding, yeah, a holding fund.
Well, they put it into that fund.
Okay, so I haven't seen where it was in there. There was an increase.
Okay.
Was it 5? What was
Should
the
we
number?
have a work session with them and you and us?
Well, I think we just need to have a reminder of what exactly all these transfers that were approved.
What's that account, Daryl? Do you remember?
No. It has the 2 million in it? No, I don't.
So
That would be on the report that was provided at the end of February.
So if I remember right, so as departments put in their department budgets this year, as they projected wages for new employees, it was put into a special fund so that
Yes.
so that it could go through the PRMT process, and that the board could make an informed decision on these positions and wage scales.
105, employee training and growth recognition, but there's only 275,000 in there.
So we have an account that has 2 million in it.
Must have been that account.
IP, I'm looking, Daryl. Okay, I think I'm losing my mind, and I have emailed Gary.
So
I
what-
thought we did an ARPA transfer for Janice's salary. It was about $58,000.
Yeah, we did, just like last week.
No, prior to that, like two or 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
I don't think it ever got done.
We didn't, because we were gonna, I think Katie was gonna do it, transfer it.
So do we have last month's, or this last week's report that came from the auditor's office county?
You just check to see if there's any other projects we're working on.
Do you want it, Daryl?
Anything I missed?
The auditor's,
Oh, okay.
their report from last week.
Here's yours. HR.
Their multi-page thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. It's right here.
It was 105, but
Okay, that's the budget.
employee training, growth, and recognition.
Yeah, okay, so yeah.
2,050,000.
Right.
And a net change of 1,030,000.
And then you have in budget that you're budgeting 3,000,1.5, which will include that 1.1. Which
Well,
was,
okay, it says
what
in
was,
2024, Daryl, I'm looking at, there was only 1,020,000. 2025 budget was 2,050,000, net change 1,030,000. But if you say there's supposed to be 3 million.
well, no, the budget has revenues for 3.15 million, so I'm not sure.
Well, I'm
That one
looking
must
at
be
this.
mostly reserves plus the 1.1. So the revenue budget, so then, and that's the whole point is what is,
So we have 3 million in it?
and so you have, no, not yet, because the transfer hasn't been done. And the question is,
So I'm looking at the budget, so I'm missing $1 million here, then something happened here. Look at this budget and tell me what we did wrong there. Did we only put $1 million in there, not 2 to begin with?
so you had a budget, it says 2.15 million is the budget here. But right now you have a budget, revenue budget saying 3.15 million. And I was saying is, they told me there's a $1.1 million being transferred from current expense to this fund, which if it's just to pay salaries, then why move the money at all if it's gonna be paid out of current
Well,
expense?
it just
Why even
floated
bother
around here.
transferring?
Was it just floating around in
Yeah, just why send it out and then it has to come right back in?
Well, because some of that was not current expense, it was public works.
Unless it was an attempt to spend current expense money and have it someplace else to avoid the cap, which isn't the proper thing.
I think that's what they did 2 years ago.
So I'm just saying the 1.1 transfer doesn't really need to happen, and my time is up.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to look at the budget because it's not accounted for here.
Yeah, it does, it just shows up in the February report. What we had last week of having a budget of revenues of 3.15, which meant is the 2,050,000 that's already there out of reserves, plus the 1.1.
I don't remember moving money this year.
I know we're putting that money not into their budget, but into like a holding, or it's just floating around, it wasn't nailed down. But I'm looking at here, it was not put in, but it's in that, somehow it's showing up in that,
It's showing up in that.
but not here.
That's why I was
Maybe
wondering
it
where
was
does
done
this come
after.
from? This didn't seem like
But if
something,
it happens after the 2025 budget, it happens in 2025, then it wouldn't be 2025 budget, so you still be, you
But
would
then
still
we
have the
can't, if it's not
excess.
budgeted,
Right,
then we
but-
can't.
Yeah,
but you want, if you have increases in wages this year, you're gonna want them to be in the current expense fund budgets. So, and not in a outside budget, to make sure the current expense budgets are accurate and transparent. So, money was moved out, so it's gonna have to come right back to current expense.
So I think the reason why it wasn't put into the department budgets is so that we could do the PMRT process and the board could make an informed decision on that, those employees' wages and the moving around, because as soon as you put it into a department budget, they don't have to go through PMRT. They can just say, no, we can use it. We don't need your permission.
but then half the budgets budgeted it in their budgets, just not correctly, so that they would have the money anyways, to be able to say they have the money budgeted. So then we probably have double reserve money in budgets.
And plus, money in current expense does not mean it's been assigned to any department. It just means it's part of the reserves. So it could have just stayed in the reserves.
Just under its own.
It's just under its own, as a reserve balance that's not dedicated to any specific department budget.
Can it be moved there now through just a,
Well, we haven't done the transfer yet. So, but if you don't do the transfer, then it stays in reserves.
So we could just leave it there.
Yes.
just leave it
And
there?
that's what I'm trying to say is, don't do the transfer. It's not necessary.
More confused than when you got here.
Thanks,
That's
sir.
terrible.
That's really weird, they're always confused.
All right,
I read part of that training, be concise.
sorry, Susie. It is 2:18 PM and we do have Susie Fody with New Hope Online.
Hi, how are you guys?
Well, you were just on for the last 10 minutes, so. Thanks.
Oh, the simple things are, you're gonna see on your consent agenda tomorrow, proclamations for Sexual Assault Awareness Month and a proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Those are both for the month of April, so signing off on those, that's nothing new. You do it every year for us, so I appreciate your support. And once those go ahead and get signed, I'm sure they'll get those back to me. So, the other thing is the federal funding updates and any kind of planning. The House budget had 20 million in there for victim services. The Senate budget has 25 million in it for victim services. The governor's budget looks a little favorable as well. Of course, a lot of that is dependent on any kind of revenue bills that they are going to put forward or not. So, you know, even though it looks a little hopeful right now, we don't know till the final budget is done in April. So I'm feeling optimistic, more so than I was a few weeks ago. So stay tuned. The last thing on my agenda is this request that Philip Coates, myself, and Jim Anderson Cook received from the Department of Commerce to provide a checklist that was put in place after the last state audit that the county had. There was a finding, and the county's response was that yeah, we'll fix this and we'll put some controls in place and we'll develop a checklist. And so now they're asking for that checklist. And I don't have that checklist. So
I thought we, so maybe.
I asked to put this on consent agenda, because it is a request to Grant County, right? And then Barb thought it might be better just to staff this at my one-on-one meeting with you all first. It, to me, appears as though it would be something that should come from accounting. And the request, we did forward the request to, I believe, to Michelle and Mandy
Did you CC Carrie on it?
Carrie was.
and Carrie.
To all three of them, Carrie,
Okay.
Michelle, and Mandy.
Yeah.
Let me find it. Okay, because I thought there was a fix, but I didn't realize our fix was not implemented or.
Well, it may have been. I just don't have a copy of the checklist. So that's the simple request right now from Commerce is this. My anticipation now is that the state knows there was a finding, and this is probably going to be something that's going to come for all the rest of the grants that I apply with Commerce, because I have to check all the boxes. Did you have a state audit? Did you have any findings? And when I check the box, yes, they're going to want the proof that we're, whatever the finding was, that we're actually doing what we say to clean things up. So, and the assumption is we just need to show them.
It looks like this was in 2023.
It's the 2023 audit that was, yeah, just recently.
Finished in 2024, last fall. We just went over it last fall.
Gotcha.
So I believe, I'm trying to verify.
And I have well, Grant County, not I shouldn't say that. Grant County has a deadline of getting that to them by Friday, April 11th. So I'm asking for your help to get that checklist.
And Susie, I don't think you would per se have the finding. It would be the county that has the finding for our lack of, usually we have to, I'm just trying to find that email. Again, I'm going by memory here. We're supposed to be looking and kind of tracking it and making sure, reviewing.
That's true. And Grant County's response to the finding when the audit happened was that, yes, we'll take care of this. And not so many, I don't know what the exact words were, but yes, we know about this finding. We'll take care of it. We've developed a checklist and we're putting protocols in place for internal controls. And all that Commerce is asking for is, if you said you're putting a checklist in place, we want to see it. Which, that's pretty simple and that's fair. So whoever put the checklist in place, could we just get a copy of it? And
Okay, that would be, it's Carrie's position. It was not per se the ARPA, it was one of the ARPA housing grants that Janice was running, because we ended up getting a lot of extra ARPA. So it wasn't ARPA, but it was CHG. We had some pretty difficult ones that were going, like for homeless. And I believe just at the end of the year, those didn't get, when they closed out, they didn't have kind of a paper. They just go look at the file, go do an audit, make sure that's in. So I think with the new employee, and Carrie can probably jump on.
Would that have been something Kirk would have been doing?
Well, the problem again is we didn't have a really clean transition. We had an employee that left. Kurt kind of sat in that for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and then Carrie came on board. So yes, we did not have a transition. We did not have this needs to be done. I haven't done this. I haven't got to this. So yes, it's not an employee problem. It's more of a transition.
We'll have to get that done.
Who made the checklist though?
It's part of the grant. It's part of the grant. It's already there.
no, I don't believe that's true, Cindy. I think this is a checklist that Grant County was supposed to make in response to the finding stating there would be internal controls. So we made the check.
We need to, well, some of it they're required to go audit. So Can we get Carrie on?
Carrie's on her way down right now.
Okay,
Okay.
so we just need to, now that we're aware.
Prove that we have a checklist. Yeah, that's it. And
Susie, do you know who had the checklist?
no, I don't. When I look at the audit,
It says the county did not have adequate internal controls for ensuring compliance with federal.
We did do our audit.
Subrecipient monitoring requirements.
We decided to do an audit, and we never got out to do the audit. It wasn't wasn't ARPA per se, but it was one of the ARPA grants for the homeless.
so the county's response on the audit,
Scary.
the paragraph says the county will put in place a subrecipient agreement contract checklist to be completed at the department level. This checklist will provide internal controls to ensure all items for this type of agreement have been met per uniform guidance. A review of the checklist to ensure all required items have been addressed will be performed annually, if not more frequently. And that, I believe, was written by Mandy.
Okay, Carrie's here. Carrie, do you
And
know
I just need a copy of that checklist.
where that would be?
Yeah, no, that checklist is something that was done years ago. Every so often it was updated. So on this grant, the specific grant that Commerce is asking about, that checklist was not sent to the subrecipients in the year of 2023, and that's what the finding is for. So I have updated the checklist. I've updated the risk assessment form and all of that. I will send that to you guys if you want a copy of it, but basically it's for my own records. And because those were not in the folder, I couldn't provide that verification when we had the audit. That's why Commerce is asking for it now to see if we have updated and in compliance with that part. But it doesn't have anything to do with any of the subrecipients.
Yeah, I understand that. And I think it's because we all have grants that have been renewed recently with Commerce, and we've just been flagged that Grant County had a finding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not sure where she got everybody's names. I mean, Janice's name was the last one on that grant, and if she would have emailed her, she would have gotten a no longer works for Grant County. You know, the email would have bounced back. So I'm not sure where she got all of those names, but she didn't have mine on there at all.
Not at all, no. And I think mine and Phillips are because of the STOP grant. The STOP grant was recently renewed with the Department of Commerce. I'm not sure about Jim Anderson Cook, what he might have with Commerce that may have been recently renewed.
Yeah, I don't either. But it was the ERAP 2.0 grant is what it was for, so.
So can you just get me a copy of that?
Thank you, Carrie. It'll just be
Thank you. Well, that's an easy answer.
4 or 5 month gap from when the position was vacated that we just kind of lived through. So Carrie, I mean, there really was a large gap. We did not have carryover. So we did a poor job doing that. So it's not Carrie. Sort of point out. Just the victim of the circumstance there. Okay, so Carrie, you'll get that to Susie then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And it's 2:29. That's all I have for you. I won't be in next week. Alyssa will be attending in my absence. So you have anything for me?
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Susie.
Thank you, Susie.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
You on still?
Yeah, just because we only have seconds.
Yeah, how are you?
Good. It's cold and rainy out there though.
Welcome spring.
Right, I got a heart when I came over.
Okay, it is 2:30 p.m. and we are here with Kim Allen, the clerk of Grant County Clerk's Office. Howdy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
You have a lot of info there?
No, actually, this is for after I'm done with you.
No.
No, and I really don't have anything since last week.
Pretty quiet over there this week?
Well, it's not quiet over there, but I don't have anything
Just
new and
nothing new.
exciting
Can't
to
talk about it.
report on. Yeah. No, it's been wild and crazy over there, actually.
That's
Like,
been wild and crazy in Mother's Lake in the last
how
couple of
far
weeks.
they're away from a full moon, it kind of feels like when we're getting close to a full moon over
Well,
there.
something big's gonna go down.
Yeah, so. No, I didn't ask you last time I was here, though, if you guys had any questions for me. Like what we do or
Everything's good over there?
what's up?
Everything's good over there? It's all packed in like sardines, pretty much.
Yeah. Had a lady at the counter that wanted to talk to me, but didn't want to talk to me at the front counter. And I was like, this is it. I said, my only option is to have you go around the corner to the sliding glass window. I said, it's a little bit more private.
Did she want to come in your
but
office?
She wanted somewhere private, but what kind of threw me off guard a little is one of the questions she asked my front counter staff was what time I got off work. And so that kind of put my
Made you a little nervous.
feelers up.
She wanted to catch you
Yeah,
out in the
and
parking lot.
I still don't know why she would have asked that, but anyway, she went around to the side window and we talked there, but yeah, I don't know. So we have nowhere private to talk to people. You can't even go to the bathroom in private. So it is what it is.
All turned out okay. She left happy.
Yeah, actually, she needed to talk to Shay, and that's Shay's window, so it ended up good. She was able to answer questions. Yeah, so hopefully she's not stalking me outside when I leave.
Hopefully you told her you're off at 1.
Yeah. Yeah. You can meet me at the commissioner's office about 2:30. No, just kidding.
Is there anything we can do for you?
No, make time speed up and have
Well, we don't wanna do
renovations
that.
be done in that
We want to
building.
slow down time.
How's the jail coming? I haven't heard anything new about
A
that.
lot of progress.
Yeah,
Getting closer. Decided we're gonna rent it out to elected officials and put them in jail and do a fundraiser to get you out.
for another
That's
wing.
not gonna
That's
raise
nice.
much.
People
Well,
might
we
pay
should
to
do
keep us
tours.
there.
It would be nice if we did tours. I don't know if you can because of security reasons, but it would be pretty hard to.
Yeah, they're doing tours.
I hope they do some
Joey's
tours.
kicking around the rent a night in the jail before it starts getting occupied and stuff.
Yeah, they did that where they were actually bid and it was pretty expensive. We couldn't spend the first night in jail.
We could do an auction for it or something.
Maybe we can have
Generate some money.
catered, not a neutral loaf, something
Jail
a little
party.
bit better, yeah.
Let the
Grant County Jail
let
Park.
the kitchen jail staff practice on.
Hey, I will say, I went through the jail Thursday, and the cook in there looked like she made some pretty darn good food. For jail food, it was pretty good.
No, they do.
My mom years ago she was the cook up at juvie.
Youth
and
services.
When the
Cute.
kids lived there.
Youth services.
Yeah, well, that was the juvie back then. And I swear those kids got a better Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner than
Oh,
what
they
we
have
got.
somebody- They used to have homemade
I mean,
rolls.
Yeah, she went all
better than we got at
out,
home.
had tablecloths and had the table set and tried to teach them their manners and yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that she always did that. But I felt a little jealous that that might not be what I got. fed well. The judges liked to go back and visit her because she always had homemade cookies back there.
They had homemade rolls. We would go up there. It's like, oh, are you guys making rolls or bread? It's like, yeah, lunch.
Mhm. The good old days.
Yeah, they definitely changed.
That's all I got.
Nothing else for Kim? All right.
Joining us, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
We will take a recess until 3 p.m. and we're back at Superior Court.
Well, like Farm Credit donates all the ribbons for a lot of them. I think all of them.
Good afternoon, it's your turn.
Good afternoon, it's 3 p.m. and we are here for Superior Court update with Crystal Burns.
Hello,
Howdy.
how is everyone?
Great.
Good. Things are good. We've started another trial today, gonna start another one Wednesday. We're just
You're on a roll.
busy.
What trial do you have going on today?
It's a family law matter,
Okay.
so that's going today, and then we're gonna start a criminal jury trial on Wednesday. So we got lots going on. So just trying to keep up right now. Running the judges ragged.
Good.
So, yeah.
If you read the newspaper, they're gonna be running ragged for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have a lot
Hopefully.
going on. Yeah, as I'm sure everyone has all seen in the news and everything else. So, do you have any questions for me?
How do they, I mean, I know the prosecutors do it, but how do they set bails?
So they request a certain number. Is that what you mean? Like, how
Yeah,
is
so
that
the
set?
prosecutor would come in, they request bail at
Yes.
X.
Yes, they request a certain amount, and then the defense attorney will always argue for something lower. And so then the judge makes the determination of what the
Is there
bail
like
will be.
sentencing guidelines? Do they have bail guidelines?
Mm-hmm, yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Is it the same in the juvenile?
yes, yeah. So they'll argue, and then it also depends on their criminal history as well, not just what the charges are, what the court will set the bail at. And their flight risk and all those things.
I'm assuming there's a lot that they take into consideration.
Yes.
Would be better to ask prosecutor then.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how they decide what amount they're going to request to begin with. So,
They have like a list for
Yeah, I'm not
certain
su-
charges, maybe.
yeah, they might.
Negotiate from that on
I'm looking here.
the Google.
Not that it's right. Oh, RCW 1340-0357 juvenile offender sentencing standard. Oh, that's sentencing, not, sorry. They did bail. Oh, bail is right back there. Bail and detention of the juvenile, Department of Justice.
Yeah, most of my questions don't really apply to you.
Oh, well, that makes it easy.
Yeah, I'm like thinking, why don't you answer for your judges?
Well, I'm gonna be gone the next 2 Mondays, so you might have a judge over
I
here.
have a shot.
Yeah,
At 3 o'clock, are they still in?
right now they're all in court, so I'm hoping that there's not gonna be just a no-show. But if no one shows next week or the week after, that's why. Yes, yeah.
I hope you have a great next 2 Mondays.
Thank you. Me too.
You have vacation?
I'm ready, yes,
Heck
I'm
yeah.
ready for a
Spring
vacation
break.
with my family. It's going to be nice. Yeah. Well, thank you.
It'll go by fast.
I know, it always does. Way too fast. Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Quick and easy.
All right, short and sweet.
We will go into recess until 3:15.
I'm just curious.
Good afternoon. It is 3:15 p.m. and we are here for a district court update.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Courthouse security grant, which will pretty much just live on this agenda through the duration, and hopefully will be short and sweet most weeks. Tom and I have been in contact with the grant people, so we're kind of trying to work through some of the budget issues and whatnot. Can be a little slow going, but there's at least progress in communication, which is really all we ask for at this point, so we're good there. The position reviews, I had this on here last week, but I didn't speak to it. We had come to you about the compensation reviews for some positions that HR hadn't been able to start yet. I did hear back from Jonathan that next day when I think you were going to talk to HR. He let me know he started the process, and that he would let me know when he, gets more information on that. And then I know you guys talked a little bit last week about the Mose Lake break room for juvenile, but Judge Quinn wasn't there, so I don't know if you wanted to follow up with anything with us, or if you're good for now. You need anything? Really, only reason our people use that room is like the refrigerator and the microwave. So if we can move those into the office space, then I don't really see a need for them to use that room at all, really. That being said,
Do you want that refrigerator moved into that empty office, or do you want it in the big room, or?
I would think maybe in the big room.
I think we're both afraid if you move it.
We are a little afraid of it, yeah. I think it's about 100 years old, so it is old.
Is it the yellow one?
Yeah.
It's not rounded. It's not old enough to be rounded,
Yeah.
but
It's just old enough to be
Those
old.
ones that last forever though.
yeah, I know.
You're not wrong.
I know.
If you don't move them.
If you don't move,
caveat there.
sometimes if you move them, they just
We'll
like
see. We'll see.
I don't know about that room. There's a lot of stuff plugged into that room though.
Yeah, there's a lot of network stuff in that office. I mean,
or we just, I don't know if it's being used to the point that needs something that big.
oh, I think a mini fridge would be perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
So I don't think it needs to be like something the way it is. And I don't know if they'll want to keep it there too. So if they want it or would use it, it could probably just stay there.
Yeah, you could leave it there, and then you guys could get a different one, a smaller one.
Yeah.
For your space.
But I don't know if they'll want, that'll be up to them if they want to keep it. The sink's not going anywhere unless you tear it out. But, so.
The only other thing we talked about a few weeks ago was that the prosecutor might be seeking to hire attorneys to appear remotely. And obviously that's moved forward. So we did meet with Kevin McCrae and discussed what that would kind of look like. And we at least kind of have a game plan for what we need to figure out to accommodate that. So we'll work towards that. That's really all we have, unless you have anything else, Judge.
What we're trying to do. We want to do that
Next
week.
I don't care.
We're also trying to establish some ground rules with HR, how it compares to the courts. And so what Desiree has done is found what a lot of different other courts are doing and how they work with their HR department. And then also we're having a meeting this week with our judges to kind of see what they want, what collectively we want it to look like. I think there's been some questions and some, I don't think it's concerns, but just where does everyone sit and where does everyone land when it compares to HR and our department based on the separation of powers? Because our department is unique.
You're actually in office.
I was gonna say, but I
I
didn't.
don't want to correct the judge, but.
Yeah, but it's just, that dynamic is different than most other departments. And so I think to some degree, we both struggle with, well, what's our roles a little bit? And I think they struggle with it, and we equally are like, no, it has to be this way, you know? So it's one of those things we're gonna try to see if we can come to some understanding. And they've been good about getting me at least an agenda, like what, I don't like going to meetings where you don't like know what we're gonna talk about ahead of time. So otherwise, we're just wasting our time. So they did get us that. We have responses to all that. And then we have kind of some comparisons of like what some other counties and municipalities are doing and how do they handle certain situations such as employee files and et cetera, et cetera. But it's gonna be a topic at our meeting with the judges, so all of us judges can get on the same page, because if you change presiding judges, that means the whole possible agreement could change. And I don't want to do that if we can help it, but I have warned them that one judge may be different about how they feel employee retention files should be treated. So we're gonna try to come to an overall global agreement first and then meet with them to try to discuss it. So. That's about it. You guys have any questions?
Anything else in general for you guys?
No, you're good with us doing what we need to do in that big space?
Okay. Make sure that I
Don't break any appliances.
Change comes with a cost.
It's really just that break room, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. But
Thank you for
obviously I
being
didn't want to
so
like
accommodating.
move until
Right.
everybody was on the
Yep.
same, so.
Are we able to purchase like an office refrigerator using county funds, or is that something that has to be personally purchased? I was always
What
thinking,
we do is, I think our refrigerator, Richard Stevens bought it and then left it for us.
got you.
Michelle has points through the Visa, or I think it's Visa.
Hey, Amazon originally. She still has a bunch of points though.
So that's kind of how we're able to get, because it's not really a county.
Right.
So visit with Michelle, and that's how we've been able to get them.
Okay.
She can order you one.
Okay. Sounds good.
Have enough points. We seem to use our credit cards a lot here in the county.
Would you leave the sink in there, or would you like?
Yeah, we'll probably just leave the sink, or they'll cap it, or that would be up to facilities.
Yeah.
It's not gonna matter if it's on or not, or if it's there, they can turn it off underneath.
I wasn't sure if they needed it, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, maybe they'll have snacks. They might want to have snacks there. A little juice bar.
I don't know.
Are they gonna have that space then, where it all turns out good?
Yeah.
Turned out good, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
We might split it into two, they might not, I don't know. I just was waiting to confirm with you guys live right here
Yeah.
before we kind of went further.
I can't think, I know there's every once in a while that I've been in there, I've just looked in the fridge to see if it's working. And there's been some food in there, so someone
Yeah.
put something
I
in
know the
there.
clerk uses it. I think the security guard uses it, and sometimes the interpreter uses it.
Yeah.
So putting it in that hallway room will be all right.
Yeah, we're putting it in that, even the clerk's room, I think they all have access to it.
Mm-hmm.
That would work good. My only concern about that room is it's got a copier plugged in, all the
Right.
technology comes out of that, technology base comes out of that room. There's one computer plugged in there too, so.
Like if it trips the breaker, we know we can't have it.
You can't have it then, right? Yeah. They'll love it when they're like, yeah. So, I
It
don't
should
know.
be a little more savvy.
It's a little more modern-y than this, so, yeah, this area.
That's really all from us, unless you have any questions. They're not super exciting.
No questions. Any for you guys?
I got no more.
No? All right. Well, thank you for coming. We will go into recess until 3:30 when we are back with public defense. Good afternoon. It's 3:32 p.m. and we are here with Brett Hill from Public Defense. Hello.
Good morning, Brett.
Hi,
How can we help you today?
I don't know.
Don't think real hard. Is there something?
Well, I'm a little frazzled today, but
Uh-oh, what's going on?
well, we're just dealing on, working on lawyers for all these new charges that are happening today. I don't know that we're gonna, I don't know that we're gonna have enough people under conflicts under contract, but I do have a couple lawyers willing to help out. But hopefully we'll have enough. We're still working on all the possible conflicts. But yeah, that all works out. We're just looking at them. We're doing conflicts checks right now, and hopefully tomorrow we can get people assigned to most of them, and ready to go. But yeah, so basically that's been my day today.
How many new ones did you have?
Well, for the related case, I mean, there were 10 people in custody today, I think, or so, but some of them were, a lot of district court ones, but we've got 2 juveniles involved in the latest violence. Well, 3 juveniles, but one of them was what we call an auto decline, so he's charged in Superior Court.
Is that because of age?
Yes, and the charge, between the age and the charge.
I think he was 17.
He was 17, and because it's what we call a serious violent offense, by definition, it's an auto.
Serious violent offense.
Mm-hmm. There's a list, there's a list of what offenses are you have serious violent, that kind of thing, under the Sentencing Reform Act. So that one was there, and in fact, that's one of the ones that's created one of the problems, because he's got some pending things in juvenile court, and that has created a conflict situation between who's charged right now. So
How does that work? If he's as an adult in one and juvenile on the other, you gotta do the juvenile first and then?
no, not necessarily. I mean, they're just on their own. The cases are on their own, and they work. Ultimately, you would often, you'd often resolve them together. Do it in a global type of a situation. But there's a long ways to go to get that all figured out. But yeah, so we've got. Yeah, today I think they charged 3 with the drive-by this weekend, and then a whole bunch of rendering criminal assistance came in from the case that happened. What was it, a week ago? Yeah, a week or 2 ago, and apparently there is some overlap, and so that's where it becomes super difficult in predicting whether we'll have a conflict or not.
Yeah, that's representing a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when, because some of them will be witnesses, and so when you're, witnesses of one, but there's possibilities of them being charged in the other, and so if you're assigning lawyers just a little bit recklessly, and those other people end up getting charged, then you have a conflict and they can't represent anybody. So the lawyers then are, then we got to go find another lawyer somewhere out there and pay them.
Yeah, the media on that whole deal was kind of weird for me. Not that really applies to any of this, but it's just odd the way they release their stuff.
Yeah.
Just not gang related, but then making sure they point out a fiance of a police officer, but not gang related, but it was gang related. It's just very odd the way it's kind of been. That's obviously where we also get our news.
Yeah.
Because nobody's bringing it to us.
Well, and unfortunately, that's kind of where I get it too. I mean, because when I'm planning on stuff, law enforcement's not sharing it with me, So and until of course once they're charged, then we get all the stuff. But I gotta wait. And but yeah, we do our best to try to be careful. And my particular job is to worry about getting the right attorneys on the right spot, so that we don't end up with having to just go begging people to, because when we're out begging people to represent them, they demand more money. And, so, not that that's a huge concern of mine, but it is,
Do you ever think of taking a vacation after a weekend like last?
Yeah, I would like to. I have one planned this month, April, apparently, or at least my wife tells me that, so. Well,
Might be a good time to go.
well, I got a couple weeks. It'll be a perfect timing. Things will settle down, but I can go.
We're hoping everything settles down.
Well, I hope it doesn't, who knows? You don't know in those types of things, but yeah, other than that, no, everything's good. I mean, I don't know that, even this, it's a little pocket of stress, but I mean, I don't want to be flippant about it, but it's sort of business as usual for us, really. I mean, it's a little out of the ordinary, but we've been through it before, and we'll get through it. And so, but yeah, so that's where we're at right now. On that, other than that, what else happened this week? Not much. It's been pretty quiet up until the weekend,
They still have to extradite some of those guys now, don't they?
Well, the one I think he was coming from California, and no, there's two of them that we haven't seen yet, but we know they're coming. So we got to save of course we know their names and everything now, so we can do the conflict checks and everything, and be prepared for that to happen.
Right.
But they haven't been back yet. They're not back yet. So.
They typically transport those guys in vehicles or put them on a plane and fly them back.
It just depends. I'm not 100% sure where they ended up at, but if they're in Oregon, they just go get them.
I think we've
drive them back.
We've retrieved some, but it takes
But if there's one in, I think that they were saying Redding, California or something. Yeah, they'd probably fly. Ultimately, it's, usually when you're that far away, you can fly.
You have to ask the sheriff.
Fly a
I
couple
wanna
people
say
for about what you can drive,
They're loaded
and pay
on the plane
somebody.
first.
What's that?
They're loaded on the plane first. They get settled in first.
Yeah.
The sheriff, you know, the sheriff, how that happens.
Yeah, no, I've seen them fly them, because if you send somebody in a car and you're paying them overtime and to drive, and, it may be less for the county to fly them, so. But I don't know. I worry about them when they get here.
That's somebody else's problem.
Yeah. That's not, I got enough to worry about. I need to worry about that too. But yeah, I've seen them do that both ways. So anyhow, yeah, other than that, we have, our caseloads have settled and we're in pretty good shape right now. Again, I don't know, it's been a year now, I guess. I've been afraid of the Supreme Court's giving us new caseload limits, but so far so good. And under where we're at right now, we're in great shape. Next month I have my leadership, our leadership meetings. We go to Sun Mountain. And so we'll have some good stuff up there, and I'll talk to people and get some good information about that, maybe get some more information on what they think's happening there. Yeah, anyway, that's my excitement.
All right, any more questions for Brett?
No.
All right, we will go into recess till 3:45 and we're back for PA office update.
Good afternoon, it's 3:45. We are here with Kevin McCray for a prosecuting attorney's weekly update. Welcome.
Thank you. Not a whole lot this week, just as I was saying, we have 2 applicants for a remote prosecutor position, so we'll be interviewing those here shortly. And we have got a second one coming this fall, so that's a plus. And then, so hopefully we're getting close there. There's a, we had a potential issue that kind of went away, but I just wanted to make you aware of it. I guess Pam, I think her name was.
Paramount,
What's that?
yeah, Paramount.
About Paramount. Yeah, we're getting a little concerned about conflict of interest if she's representing Paramount or something like that, and is also on the Tourism Advisory Board.
I don't think she represents Paramount.
That's what we're hearing, but just like I said, I think I've been told it's become moot and not an issue, but just something that kind of raised our eyebrow and got concerned about, but I don't think it's an issue right now.
Well, I think there was some confusion on
That may
who's
have been-
contracting with who.
And that may have been it.
I think that's the biggest thing.
So.
It's part of like the Washington Filmworks Association,
Mhm.
and I don't fully understand who she is working for or working with, but from what I gather, she is employed by somebody for something to do with this.
Yeah, I don't know if she's working for Paramount or like an employee or like a contracted
Right.
liaison. Or if, you're right, if it's somebody else,
But if she's both on the board and working for the other side, there's an issue there. So we just need to be aware of it. I'm not sure if anything will come of it, but just thought I'd raise it, raise our eyebrow and move on. Nothing I really need to worry about at the moment. And that's about all I had from my perspective. Anything I can do for you guys?
no. Rob, Kevin said he has 2 applicants for the remote attorney position.
That's good news.
Yeah, so hopefully we're making progress. All right.
I did have a question.
Okay.
Because we were talking to youth services today, and we asked them, what dictates the bail set amounts for defendants?
It's true both in youth and adult. The court is supposed to look at danger to the community and risk of flight and set the bail amount. And obviously we make a recommendation and tell them the information about what we think is a risk to the community and risk of flight, looking at their past warrants, criminal history, all that kind of good stuff. And then we ask for a bail amount, but there's no precise, it's more of an art than a science. No precise number.
There's no state standards or anything.
No. Juvenile is typically much lower unless it's a really, really serious crime, in which case we're asking for adult type bails. But oftentimes juvenile will be set fairly low so that if the parents want to bail them out, they can.
Then you're basically depending on the parents to take care of their child, right?
Yeah.
Keep them in line.
Yeah. Sometimes that works, sometimes not so much. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I had gotten asked a couple questions about that because like one of the kids that got in trouble, I guess, had a super low bail on a stabbing or something, and they just were asking me why, and I said, it's not my job, I don't work in that world. So.
I have to go back and look at the specific case to look at the details. Okay.
I think that's all I have.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll go to recess until 4 p.m. and we're back for a cybersecurity presentation, anticipated executive session.
Machine
I didn't know I had.
That's why they call them shakes, not much.
Good afternoon, it is 4 p.m. and we are here for a cybersecurity presentation. We will be going into a data security breach executive session, RCW 42.30.1101AI from 4 p.m. until 4:20 p.m. We will continue executive session for 10 more minutes, returning at 4:30 p.m.
We took the class with, we still talk to today. We set up a group inside our teams chat so that we can stay in touch with them. So it's pretty cool because a lot of those other individuals were cities and counties in California and similar problems. And that networking opportunity was, brought to us through NACO and Tom. So we really treasure that. So.
One of the best outcomes of the course.
Yep.
Yeah. Any comments, Blair?
No, it's really important. I mean, I know Cindy knows from being on WCRG,
Yeah,
one
we've
of our
had
other
some issues.
issues, and there's been quite a few that I've known of that have been hit. So staying on top of it's so important. Training, yeah, very important. So it's one of the ones, the commissioners have asked for training, and it's one of the things I push for. And cybersecurity was one of the ones I had written down before you guys even talked about it. I'm like, we have to gotta do it. So I'm glad that you guys have wanted to do it as well. I know with Lexipol, they have some stuff that will be available. It's not gonna be as good as some of the stuff you guys have, so I'm looking forward to seeing some of the stuff that will be coming out. So hopefully we can partner on some stuff to push out.
You will absolutely be getting a copy to review. We've already spoken about the people that we're gonna be sending it to, and you are on the list.
Perfect.
Any other questions before we finish up?
Thank you for the presentation.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
We were out of executive session at 4:30 PM and no decisions were made. Anything else? Done? All right, we are going to go into recess at 4:31 PM.
Basically, we have 8:15 tomorrow night.